Small SUVs are on the rise, and here we'll take a look at some of the very popular ones. The VW Taigo, which combines SUV Coupe look with more space. The internal competition of the bigger VW T-Roc. The Toyota Yaris Cross with its hybrid drivetrain. The Ford Puma. The Mazda CX-3. And the Audi Q2. Let's find out which one is the most suitable one for you and which one has which strengths and weaknesses. Let's go!
This is a driving review of VW's latest small SUV, the VW Taigo. What is it and what can it do? Let's find out. Let's go! Thomas here with Autogefühl, and the VW Taigo is actually a sister model of the VW Nivus that is already being sold in South America. They differ a little bit in some aspects, but they also have some same parts, of course. Here in the front you can see a modern design, honeycomb style in this style trim level car, because this trim level is called style. There's also an R-Line available with a little sporty look. We had that in our studio episode in red. This color here today is called visual green. It is visual for sure. Headlamps come standard with LED, optional the IQ light, so matrix LED is even available here for this very segment. And depending on which trim you pick, it starts below 20,000 euros in Germany. If you go, higher trim, all the options and so on, biggest engine and so on, then you can land up something below 30,000 euros. So indeed, this is rather a car from the lineup which is more affordable. The length is at 4,27 meters or 168 inches. So that means 17 centimeters or 7 inches longer than the VW T-Cross. It's also a small SUV. And as for the seating position, this one here sits between Polo and T-Cross. So it's Polo, Taigo, T-Cross, as how high you go. So is it more crossover? Is it already an SUV? I'll leave that up to you. I would rather say crossover, right? Here also with crossover wheel arches, 17 to 19 inch wheels. These here are the biggest 19 inch wheels and style trim level, but you can also get here this black contrast here, for example, and also then the roof in black, and really some fresh, interesting colors. This color indeed is interesting. As for show off, it's nice. For everyday driving, maybe something else. And here you have this rather falling roofline, giving it more kind of like a already SUV coupe shape. MQB A0 is the platform. Again, that means sharing it with the Polo and the T-Cross both, and also with the Skoda and Seat siblings in this very segment. Here, modern light strip all the way across the vehicle, very beautiful and elegant design, and more crossover look in the lower part. And yeah, glad to find no fake exhaust here, but on the R-Line model, there the Autogefühl fake exhaust police had a major job. This is the car key, one of the classic ones, and yeah, good to have that one. Door closing sound. Okay, heard it better, but also heard it worse. Here at the inside of the doors, this is sadly hardback, and then, wow, this fitting to the exterior color, that interior. It's a really great idea. It's not my favorite color, but it's a great idea to have the fitting interior to the exterior. However, you can also go for a more subtle interior style. And I think these seats look really great. And again, if you want it more subtle, more on the black style, it's also available for the style trim. You can go for 3 different color options for the seats. The seats themselves, they already look comfortable, and I think a beautiful job they've done here with the fabric and also with the bright leather red. Steering wheel looks modern and fresh, and at the same time you still have the hard buttons here, left side for the cruise control and right side then to control the digital instruments. Good they kept it with that. It's a small vehicle, but already offers you a very decent seating comfort, so that's the one thing I appreciate almost most. So especially here in these seats, the base seats are a little bit, less sophisticated, but they here are actually a little bit better already, and they've got side bolstering, and you feel like you would be in a bigger vehicle. And considering my size, 1m86, 6'1", still enough headroom left. And once again, for such a size, rather small vehicle, great seating comfort. Interior overview with a simple layout. Steering wheel, by the way, up, down, in, out, easy process. Left side, you get two sizes of digital instruments. That's a little bit confusing actually. So it starts here with 8-inch and then optional 10.25 inch. And on the right side, 6.5, 8-inch, and then here the 9.2 inch, the biggest one. This one does not have any buttons left. The 8-inch one would have the volume knob and the zoom in, zoom out knob, so I would rather stick with the 8-inch one then. Once again here, this green decal element, you can also get it in the more subtle style that's possible. Infotainment system, this is the Apple CarPlay integration, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay both, also wireless connection is possible. And also for the smaller screen, you can also get CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity, by the way. Here, 300 watt Beats sound system is, yeah, really nice. So I think really good performance here for a sound system in a small vehicle. Then this is the main menu. Gladly, it's not the system you get in the VW Golf or in the ID.3. This is a different one. It's a better one. It's not the best one. You see here, the map could also be more responsive, but overall, the overview of the whole menu structure and so on is more what you are used to from Volkswagen vehicles, and therefore it's definitely easier and simpler. When you have the 9.2 CPU, by the way, from this biggest touchscreen, oh, by the way, you can see here, the right one does not flick on camera, the left one does, but on the human eye, nothing flickers. So here, you can have the map both in the right and in the left side simultaneously. Not possible if you have the 8-inch screen on the right. Here we are with the digital instruments. This is the map view, but you can also have it full screen, that's possible, or then rather, you know, the classic views and also have other contents in the middle. Lower part here, this climate unit is with the sliders. This is a Climatronic. It's an option. You do not have to go for it. It looks fancy for a capacitive BS unit. Hashtag capacitive BS. It's quite okay, but stick with the base function, then you still have the real dials, so they are a more clever choice. Two USB-C chargers and low part, also inductive charging pad, by the way. And then we have this massive shifting lever here for the DSG, standard here for the 1.5 engine, but it's actually good. You have a very good feedback and it looks actually also quite modern, and why not having something you can really touch? And then your two cup holders, they are not adaptive though. And then the armrest, very well attached, nice leatherette cover, and underneath some more space. As for rear seating, well, they are using all the space they have, and when I would go a little bit more forward with the seats, I could also sit here, but yeah, when you have tall adults in the front, it gets close here. The back part of the seat is soft, however, but again, from the length there, it's just close because it's a small segment. Headroom-wise, however, is actually good, so they are using the space they have. It's just that the length does limit it at some point. Two USB-C chargers here in the rear, by the way. In the middle part with the middle tunnel, you can hardly sit there. But what's really cool is that they also have the same seat setup here, so very high class as for the materials they use here for the whole fabrics and leatherette and so on. Now to the trunk area, which houses 438 liters. You can see here, really square dimensions, easily fits the cabin trolley in, also here in the vertical way. Just as a proof, here, no problem at all. So that's really good. For most of the recent VW reviews, I've been hating about the infotainment system, and I would still do that. But here I can just praise again how practical this car is. 1 meter or 40 inches in width. Then here, the length, about 82 centimeters or 32 inches. And then here the height to the cover is 40 centimeters or 16 inches. And here, this is really a practical solution here. When you put this one here up, it holds tight like this. This is the replacement tire underneath. And they really have used this space very, very well. You can also fold the seats, and then you have even more space. And like this, and like this. Well, once again, price, performance, and also the space you get, really very good. And the length to the seat as I'm driving, 1 meter 55 in total, or 61 inches. As for engines, we have the 1.5 liter 4-cylinder turbo petrol with 150 horsepower, always connected to the 7-speed DSG dual clutch transmission. Cheaper entry versions work with the 1 liter 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine with 95 horsepower or 110 horsepower. The latter one then again optional with the DSG. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the VW Taigo 1.5 TSI. Let's put to that sports mode, see how this 150 horsepower can bring us on that German motorway from 45 kilometers an hour. Let's go. Under 50 kilometers an hour. Yeah, I think that's shabby enough for this one. Racing with the Taigo. Yay! Well, not too bad at acceleration. Of course, wind noise picking up right now, but considering for this segment, it's also not too bad. Here, also quite stable on the road. So suspension here is not adaptive in this segment here, not available. But still, good compromise. It feels very nice and agile on the road. Steering is crisp and agile and also has no dead zone area or something. And let's put to a normal autobahn speed. Let's say like around 20 kilometers an hour, like 70 miles an hour. Here also wind noise are somewhat okay. Of course, you have to consider the price and the segment. And it's really not an expensive vehicle. That's the good thing for that. And for that, even here the performance at high speed is really, really good. So that's one first nice aspect definitely about it. Also very good at how we can tune the brakes. Once again, going left and right. Very likable steering, and also with this new modern steering layout, that's good. And we still have the real hard buttons. That's also a good thing to have. For example, when I set the cruise control right here, I can set it here in the 1 kilometer steps or here in 10 kilometer steps with plus and minus. So easy to control. That's what we know actually still from Volkswagen. Yeah, the climate unit, you don't have to go for the Climatronic option as I told you in the interior parts, so stick with the base manual dials and then you'll also be fine off with that. Well, interior wise, not too much as for ambient lighting, a little bit here and here, but again, considering the segment, and also here for example, so a subtle note, I think that's overall good. And here with the digital instruments, this top setup here, I also have a good visualization and see what I'm actually doing here at the moment and now at 80 kilometers an hour. So motorway vehicle, although it's a rather small vehicle, good comfort also to this upright seating position, and also very good as for the overall seat ergonomics. So indeed, much you get here for not too much money, and also it's not much of a car, but you still get much of a car for it. Do you know what I mean? So that's from the motorway perspective. But what about the more agile driving performance? Let's find out more about that. Last comment here, assistance system, we also have a blind spot monitor. Well, we were too fast, no one overtook us yet, but it will be displayed here in the side mirror. So assistance systems wise, everything is working flawlessly as well. There it is, because the other car was approaching. Yes, still managed to show that. Now to some more agile driving. Fuel economy, by the way, something between 6 and 7 liters on 100 kilometers. So that's US MPG, some high 30s, and UK MPG more than 40, so 45 or something. Okay, acceptable, not too good, also not too bad, but for a vehicle of that size, it should be a little bit better. Now we have here windy roads, and they are also a little bit wet. You can see here, steering wheel actually still a good feeling. It's front wheel drive only, so maybe also heard that here in the sport mode where the RPMs are also a little bit pumped up, so when it's wet and you hammer the throttle, then you also have some traction loss in the front. But it's not that the car would get out of control or something. The ESC is controlling that very well. See here also in the S shifting mode where the gears are turned up later, shifted down earlier. Very smooth, very nice. Here I had to correct a little bit due to that wheel spin, but not too much. So overall a very likable and agile driving feeling. This is a very cool thing. You sit rather upright in comparison to a normal small vehicle here in this crossover style, or already SUV style, however you want to call it. Again, sitting between Polo and T-Cross height-wise, but already a lot of fun. So yes, also driving-wise, we can prove the initial point that this is one of the rare cars here on the market still where you get actually a lot what you've paid for. This is also driving-wise one of the very, very cool things. This is a new VW T-Roc facelift here with Thomas and Autogefühl. Let's take a closer look. New color here also with Ascot Grey. It's not a matte color, but it has a matte appearance. New front grille, you can see here with this kind of honeycomb structure on the inside, definitely sportier. This is also here the R-Line, and the R-Line moves closer visually to the true R model. New headlamp unit here also, standard LED, optional. You can see here the IQ light. These are the matrix LED lamps, and also with the interesting daytime running light, but here also an additional one in the lower part. Formerly only the true R model had that, now also for the R line. So definitely a sporty look in the front. We will also soon show you the true R model and also in comparison the style model, which is a little bit less sporty. The length here 4.23 meters or 166 inches. It's actually really short or small, but it has still a very strong appearance. Here also with a contrasting roof. You can also get now a black package or black design package, and you also get this black mirror caps here and also this bow here and also around the windows in high gloss black, and also black wheels are available. They come from 16 to maximum 19 inch, and these are indeed the biggest 19-inch wheels. Once again here in the R-Line styling and crossover cladding, because this crossover or small SUV still supposed to have this off-roadish look. Normal suspension is available, or then the optional DCC, the dynamic chassis control, that's the adaptive suspension. If you go for the R model, the car sits 20 millimeters lower. Towards the rear, we can see here there's an interesting design styling package here for today, also with this carbon fiber alike styling here in the huge C pillar. And towards the rear, if you got the matrix lamp in the front, you also get new rear lamps right here with a new modern styling, and also then with a cascading turning indicator. Other than that, you have this typical hatch styling here in the rear. And if you go for the optional electric tailgate, it now also features this foot kick mechanism from below. Uh-oh. No one can escape the Autogefühl fake exhaust police. Well, big alert here for our squad, because this is the pure form of a fake exhaust, even with real fake, one of the most sophisticated fake exhausts there is, where you can really touch on the inside and there's really nothing. So I really have to say, this is a very beautiful fake exhaust, but it remains fake. And you also have a welcome show now, welcome light show here for a car in this segment. Here you can see, very unusual that we already have that here. Nice feature. You start with the base T-Roc, then you can put the live trim level and then the top trim levels, either the R-Line or the style, which we have here. I will tell you why I would go for the style trim level, especially because of the interior features to come very soon. Here on the exterior you can see the style model is already quite sporty now, also then with a different bumper, contrasting colors, and here the daytime running light in the lower part is different. Then he has this ring form, but also looks quite interesting. The color here, by the way, is called petroleum blue. Yeah, that's the question if you could nowadays call a color petroleum, right? These are 19-inch wheels here, by the way, also in a different styling, but also the biggest ones available. And we have some, tricks when we do photo shootings. For example, here you can see the VW logo here. It, doesn't stand upright, and it's not that important, but sometimes it looks better when the logos also stand upright. And then we have this small rubber device, and then you can actually, put it to that and put this one out. There we go. And then, for example, if you want to really be meticulous, like we are on Autogefühl, then you can also put the logo here on an, in an upright way. And the style trim T-Roc here in the petroleum blue from the rear. Yes, style has different fake exhausts. Here, actually, this is just one area then. However, here it has more off-roadish look as well here, once again with the grey contrast. Car key remains the old one, but I think it's a good decision because the new high gloss black ones, like in the Golf 8, they just look less good or worse, you can also say. Prefer this one. Then door closing sound, really good. Golf jeans still, nice sound. Then inside of the doors, sadly this is here still hard pack, but new door insert here in leather red, soft elbow cover, and what's really new, they worked on the dashboard, completely new dashboard, and also here this stitching style, and this is now soft touch. Before it was hard pack, Now here soft touch, so that's an upgrade. This being the style trim level, you still have real buttons on the steering wheel. This will be different with the R line and the R. I'm soon going to show you that. One reason to stick with the style trim level or the base trim levels, to be easier able to control these buttons on the steering wheel. I think it looks better and it's definitely easier to control. Seats, the base T-Roc would start with normal fabric seats with a little bit different foaming, and style and R line have a little better foaming on the inside of the seat, and this one here, the style, gets then the microfiber inserts, really high quality, nice, and then with some fabric accentuations here and leatherette right there. The R-Line also has some different fabric and a sportier styling than as comparison. And optional Ergo Active seat here also. This is an upgrade then that you get lumbar support and also a small form of a seat massage, but that's not really that necessary. Overall, the advantage here of the T-Roc is that you have an upright seating position, although you're not in a big vehicle. And this, is really good also for tall people with 1.86 m or 6'1". A lot of headroom here. This is then with the bright headliner. Also another reason to stick with the style, because otherwise the interior gets super dark. As you can soon see it also with the R-Line. And here without the panoramic roof, a lot of headroom left. With the panoramic roof, soon in comparison to that, that's then less. Steering wheel here up and down, in and out, a very smooth process. And upgraded assistance systems. That means when you go for the optional assistance systems pack, you also have the travel assist working up to 210 kilometers an hour. So, lane assist, active one, and also cruise control, and also with capacitive function then, so the car realizes that you're here just by touching the steering wheel. You do not have to shake it. In the style trim here, you have these gray inserts here, for example. I think it's a little bit better than, again, the black piano lacquer. Here on the left side, once again, the new steering wheel. The T-Roc now always comes with digital instruments, either 8-inch or these ones here, optional or standard in the style trim, 10.25-inch. Here on the right side, you start in the base level 6.5-inch, small screen, but already with the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto possibility. And here, this is then the 8-inch screen. This is standard for the style trim level. And not the biggest screen, but does the job. And here the advantage is you still have a volume knob menu, and also here a zoom knob you can, for example, use in the infotainment system. The infotainment system itself is not that responsive actually, but still quite okay. Better, here you can see the zoom knob, so great to have that while driving. So this is the reason I would not go for the optional 9.2-inch screen. I'm soon going to show you that one. This is here way to go, definitely. Main menu, here Apple CarPlay integration with cable or wireless. Just a 6.5-inch, a smaller one, just has the cable connection. Here you can also have the wireless connection already, and you can get a Beats sound system, either with 300 watt or with 400 watt. Then in the convertible has even more punch, and it's actually quite nice for this segment here. Clear sound, not too surroundish actually in comparison to big, very expensive systems, but already quite decent. Because it's quite complicated, when can you see the map in which screen? 8-inch smaller digital instruments, no map display at all, just arrows. Here 10.25-inch, you can display the map. When you have the 8-inch screen, then you can only show the map on one screen, either in the instruments or here. Only if you have the 9.2-inch, the bigger one, you can display it on both sides. So that's the only advantage of the 9.2, because there's a better chip. However, I would still stick with this solution and then maybe really just swallow it, that I can just see it here or here. Maybe it's then better to have it here, to have it in your line of sight. The screen is, by the way, just flickering on camera. Here, map full screen, or you can also limit it some, or this classic view looks quite cool indeed. And then you can also just switch what you want to have in the middle part right here. More expensive and more options is not always better. Here the same. This is a Climatronic. It's an option that you now have these touch sliders. For a touch solution, it's actually quite okay. However, the classic turning knobs are easier to use while driving, and they still exist in the base model and also here in the style model if you don't go for this option. Just the true R model always comes with this one here, but this is an option I would actually leave aside. It looks cooler, but harder to control. Then on the lower part, two USB-C chargers here now.
For the phone, also inductive charging pad. That was there before this option, but you have a little bit more space in here. This is a new DSG shifting lever if you have the automatic gearbox. It, feels quite nice, good, and maybe in a way you also have more haptic feedback than with these very small levers you have nowadays. Cup holders sadly are not adaptive at all. That's not too good actually, but then what is better from build quality is here this armrest, very well attached. You can also fold, put it forward and then underneath some more space. In the rear, also a lot of headroom with 1.86 or 6.1. Here once again the bright headlining, that's really cool. Now USB-C chargers, you can see here. This is also facelift upgrade, but legroom wise, really close, so I do hit the front seat. It's soft, it's okay, but it's a short vehicle, so no wonder that there's not plenty of legroom. In the middle part is a big middle tunnel. There are also all-wheel drive models available. Here then cup holders, which are also adaptive actually for the side. I haven't seen that one, so this seems also like some new thing. Feels a little bit like building some Lego or something. There's also ski hatch, and well, in the middle part, can you really sit there? It's a little bit higher, more or less. This here, the R-Line interior, and I will tell you why you should not go for the R-Line here, because it looks cool on the exterior, but here on the interior you automatically get these #capacitive BS buttons then, so they look cool, but it's definitely more complicated to control the cruise control while driving, for example, and also on the right side here to control the instruments. It's just irritating, and it's just one button basically. And then second reason is you have more high gloss piano lacquer, which is catching scratches, so that, and also fingerprints, and it just doesn't look that premium. This, by the way, not connected to the R-Line, just a general option, 9.2 inch screen here. This is the bigger screen, and there you can see you do not have these buttons anymore. It costs more money, but has less functionality to me, I think, so rather stick with the 8-inch screen. So you can live with a little smaller screen then, but then you have still the buttons for the 8-inch. This vehicle here is also equipped with an optional panoramic roof. This does cost some headroom, but it's still okay for tall people in the front. You can also open this one here. It's actually quite a nice feature. It leaves a lot of light and sun inside. Quite wide opening as well. And also difference for the headroom in the rear, of course. Well, it is okay, but you have, this step here, and then it goes a little bit up, and there you have then space for your head. But definitely if you're Michael Jordan in the rear, you should rather go than without the panoramic roof. You can also open the rear hatch here with the folding logo. And then I have a luggage setup here for you. Unfortunately, because of this top cover, when you have the top cover installed, a cabin trolley here does not fit in the vertical way, because this, this is blocking actually. But you can also just, lift it out like this, and then it, you have all the way. And you can also push it through a little bit more. Let's see if that works now. That should work, I hope. No, it doesn't. Okay. That's a problem. Yeah, so that should work actually, but it doesn't. Yeah, interesting. Well, but that's why we are here to test it for you. So cabin trolley has to be like this. Then the width here is 1 meter or 40 inches. That's actually good. The length is a little bit less than 80 centimeters or 30 inches. Here I already fold one of the halves for you this way, all the way through, and this is the maximum setup here with the length of 1.53 meters or 59 inches. And the most spectacular and most powerful version remains the T-Roc R with 300 horsepower and this really strong styling. However, since the R-Line is now as sporty from the looks as the true R model, there's not much differentiation anymore. Here once again with the honeycomb style grille, then the big lower bumper. This is a little bit different than here, bigger air intakes right there. Lapis blue is the typical R color, and it's still a very, very beautiful one, also called Thomas Blue in Autogefühl, because it's among my favorite colors. Then 18-inch wheels would be standard, 19-inch also option for the R in special stylings. Bigger brake disc, also with blue brake calipers, 17-inch these brakes. And then once again, stronger from the side bumper here a little bit, and also towards the rear. Really strong C-pillar here, also once again in lapis blue, and you also get these new tail lamps. And this is the interior of the T-Roc R, the true R model. And you can either get dark or these blue inserts here, matte styling. So this looks definitely more screaming out. The highlight here, however, definitely the seats. They have more side bolstering than with microfiber inside at the sides of the inside here. And then with the blue fabric on the inside and also with the R stamping or the R stitching here. And indeed, they are more comfortable. So they are sportier and more comfortable at the very same time. One of the reasons I would prefer the R. Yeah, you know, when you discuss it at home and say like, I know I want to have 300 horsepower. Why do you need 300 horsepower? Yeah, because the seats are more comfortable. Yeah, I always give you the best tips and tricks. The only thing is here with the R, you have the capacitive buttons here at the steering wheel. You also have a separate R button. And then you can also take a look at here at the infotainment system. It can directly hop to the race mode. Here, either you click them through normally like this, but if you press and hold here, it directly hops to the race mode. All-wheel drive, 50-50 maximum distribution. And with the launch control, this vehicle here goes 4.9 seconds to 1 kilometers an hour or 62 miles an hour. And that you can shift yourself as well with these huge shifting pedals. Here also in the rear of the R, you can very well see this kind of single seat setup and also the nice sporty situations with the gray microfiber for the rear seats. Yeah, that looks really fancy, the best part of the R definitely. As for engines, here the T-Roc R 2-liter 4-cylinder, turbo petrol engine, 300 horsepower, all-wheel drive, front plus rear on demand. No torque split here as in the new Tiguan R, the Golf 8 or the Arteon R, because this one here is still based on the older platform. If we go a little bit lower down in the engine spec, the 2-liter turbo petrol engine 4-cylinder is also available with 190 horsepower, also all-wheel drive. Even further down below, 1.5-liter 4-cylinder with 150 horsepower, or the 1-liter 3-cylinder with 110 horsepower. The two small engines, these are actually connected with the convertible as well, so the convertible cannot be bought with the 2-liter engine. And then there's also the 2-liter TDI available still. A new small SUV with off-road look and even real all-wheel drive possibilities. Let's take a look at the Toyota Yaris Cross here in Autogefühl with Thomas. In the front we can see really bold styling, especially in the lower area. This is a so-called adventure trim. There you get this additional bar right here. We will also show you the elegance trim as comparison, which looks a little bit more elegant and less off-roadish. But overall, a strong front for this small SUV, also here with the grille. LED lamps are from standard, and interesting at the daytime running light, even when it's out, it always looks like it is in, because just styling-wise, they've designed it in a way that it always looks on. Yeah, interesting, definitely. And in the side profile, you can see these huge wheel arches as a contrast, up to 18-inch wheels. These are the ones also you can see right there. In the length, actually, that's very interesting. When you compare the normal Yaris to the Yaris Cross, this one here looks way larger, but actually the platform and the wheelbase is the same. The difference is really, it's a little bit higher, has more ground clearance, 2.5 centimeters. Overall then 24 centimeters or 9 inches longer than the normal Yaris. And you also get a contrasting roof right here. And the adventure trim level also has these roof rails. Towards the rear, we can see this typical Yaris, like its overlapping form, a strong Toyota design, very extravagant. Yeah, kind of like an integrated rear wing. And once again, more off-road accentuations here in the lower part, especially in this adventure trim level. So what do you think? Tell me in the comments. There. Here in the shadows, we can see the rear lamps have a very nice, slim form. And when you here put on turning indicators, wow, even cascading. Interesting, by the way, this is the daytime running light when the car is standing, and I have it to, to this position. But when I put it to the automatic lighting mode, then the top part is out and the lower part is the daytime running light while driving. And also when I put on the turning indicators or the hazard lights, then the lower part replaces it. Interesting. The total length, by the way, 4 meters 18 or 165 inches. So it's actually shorter than you might expect from the looks. And by the way, as for the all-wheel drive system, so usually it comes as standard with front-wheel drive. And when you have the optional hybrid version, or for example in Germany, there's only the hybrid version available,
just the electric motor is powering the front wheels, and it's combustion engine and electric motor in the front. If you go for the all-wheel drive version, you have an additional electric motor also at the rear axle. This has an effect on the trunk, for example, and the maximum distribution is 40-60, so maximum of 60% power at the rear. But usually, even if you go all-wheel drive, it will still be front-rear biased. The rear electric motor is only active when there is wheel spin, or let's say beginning to detect slippery conditions in the front. So it's not like you would hit the throttle and there's more throttle in the rear, no more power in the rear like with Helix clutch systems or something. It's really more that you have the all-wheel drive for slippery conditions. And as an alternative, we also have a different color for you today. Here, this rather golden color, also very attractive. Unique, you have to be brave to go for that one. Also contrasting wheel arches, of course, but this is the elegance trim level. First of all, it does not have the roof rails like we've seen in the Adventure trim. And also here, more elegant, as the name says. This is here in vehicle color, whereas the Adventure trim would have this additional contrast bar right here. So you can also vary a little bit in the stylings then. And here you can see the direct comparison, the Yaris Cross and the traditional normal Yaris here, how much bolder the Cross version actually is. I think it's a very interesting comparison to see right here. Mostly from the front. It also has a stronger front overhang, by the way, here, the Yaris Cross. And of course, generally you can see the height, especially then it's like 3/4 perspective, see how much higher the Yaris Cross is. Oh, have you noticed the Z3 there in the background, the vintage Z3? Well, I certainly have, and if you have already noticed it earlier, then put it in the comments. But beautiful, right? Yeah, off topic, but sorry, I had to. This is the car key, nothing special, and door closing sound. Also rather mediocre. Then inside of the doors, hardpack top part. This is also the segment, but here we have a nice fabric insert that also looks quite fancy. But this is also like taken from the normal Yaris. Then the Cross has special entry badges and also branded floor mats, at least with this badge right there. Then we have this rather modern steering wheel we know from the new Yaris generation, similar to the instruments, and there's also news from the infotainment system. Seats are very attractive. They have this kind of sporty style with the, this very formed shoulder part. These are leatherette applications, and the rest then is fabric. You can also get a full leatherette seat, and Toyota just told me here, the product managers, that they make a commitment also to get rid of animal materials in the car. Not yet at the steering wheel, but definitely also a lot of progress there in the Toyota corporation. Then let's get inside. 1-86 or 6 with 1, frequent or long-term subscribers know it. Here, and still, let's hold it in lowest position. Still a lot of headroom left, no problem. So it is a small vehicle, but still you feel actually quite comfortable as a tall person. Steering wheel also in, out, up, down. So actually nice movement possible. And also the seat can be moved up like this, pumping up yaw. Yeah, and then it also goes a little bit, straighter. So considering it's not a big vehicle, it actually feels quite spacious in the front. Interior overview, we see a lot of playing around actually, like these overlapping elements. This is here soft touch. Then we have this golden accentuations, would rather fit to the golden exterior. This is then hard pack. Here again, this round shape also for the climate unit, and good to have still a manual climate unit to control the temperature and also the vent strength. Really like that. Here also for the Yaris Cross, the hill descent control you can activate right there with a nice clicking sound even. In the lower part, inductive charging pad for your phone, and in this case it makes sense because here you see there is an not only inductive charging pad but also wireless connection for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but you can also use the cable, so you have the choice actually. It starts then with an 8-inch screen. This is the new option 9-inch screen, and the difference is not only the size but also the software. First of all, Apple CarPlay integration, and the sound here actually is very decent for a small vehicle. So nice natural feeling sound, and the integration of the CarPlay is also good here. And then the Toyota system here, this is completely new software, and so completely different from the system we know before, and also better, especially here the inbuilt GPS. However, It is better than the other one, but just because the other one is even worse. You know, this also here not responsive at all. We're in Belgium here today, so greetings to all our Belgium fans. Yeah, so you have these hotkeys here at the side. And this is then a hotkey here to the Apple CarPlay, but you see, use the Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto even if you go for this system. And then actually you can say, yeah, just go for the smaller screen, save the money, because the rest of it, both systems internally, are not that well usable actually. So what else? If we move further down, we have the automatic shifting lever, D, or then the B mode that gives us, you know, some more, more engine brake. And then further down below we have the EV mode button, but usually, I mean, the car drives in EV mode when it thinks it makes sense anyway. So yeah, that's kind of it. Here in the Yaris Cross you can push to normal driving mode, but also have a trail or snow mode. Then the all-wheel drive system is used a little bit more actually. And then we have this split armrest. This is, you know, also some soft touch up, small case here. Then we can fold it up, more access than, yeah, rather to cup holders, but they are not adaptive. You know, we are the channel of details, and that's why here for a, let's say, rather budget vehicle, dampened glove box, like that they implemented that feature. The steering wheel has a sporty shape, also very compact form, and a good sporty handling overall. And here the cruise control, still with real buttons on the right side. Left side then to control something of the instruments, or also with the volume control. And here we have like a split. Right and left is analog, and the middle part with a digital screen, just with the standard speed and so on. You cannot change too much in there, just what you want to see in the very middle part. But that's actually then also not too much what you can show there. An interesting option is, however, the head-up display. Really rare to have it in this very segment, and you have a good view to the front, and you don't have to look down into the instruments. You also have the nice fabric leatherette mix for the rear seats. That's really looking good. However, there's one catch. I mean, you have ISOFIX on the outside seats each, but there we go. So for the child seats. But then again, this door here, it hardly opens, you know, so that's a little bit tough then to get the child seats in and out. For me, it's no problem. I can get in and out with this door, but then again, with the legroom, yeah, I mean, it's a tiny vehicle, so for tall adults, it's not the most comfortable thing in the rear. Do hit the seat here with my knees. Headroom, however, this is actually quite okay, and there's also good advantage here for the Yaris Cross. It's a higher vehicle, so headroom-wise, you can sit here. Just with the legs, it's a little bit closed then, but I mean, if I move my feet all the way back and stretch my legs a little bit, then it kind of works. So I think the usage of space is very good. It's just that the overall length is still short. For the trunk, you can also get an electric hatch, and has a lot of beeping sounds as well. And we put some luggage inside. John's camera backpack here, cabin trolley, another backpack, so it fits very well. 320 liter here for the all-wheel drive version, 400 liters it would be for the front-wheel drive version. The reason for that I will show you very soon. Let's begin here. So the height here with the cover is about 40 centimeters or 16 inches in the lowest position. But here it's a little bit higher underneath this cover here. Well, you know, like this, but the total overall height is here 29 inches or 73 centimeters. Yeah, you can also remove that cover completely. Here in the all-wheel drive version, you still have some space underneath, but not as much as in the front-wheel drive version. Again, soon the comparison to that. Length here is about 30 inches or some almost 80 centimeters. So overall well usable, that one. And then depending on the trim level, here there's the higher one, then you also have the middle split here with the ski hatch. Otherwise the base version will just feature a 60-40 split here in this case. Then you can also, that's always the same. Jonas is so high, so tall. We always have to move the front seat in the front. Yeah, then you can have this folding part here and the overall length. So here we go, is then 66 inches or almost 170 centimeters. And here let's compare the front wheel drive trunk, because when you do not have the additional electric motor in the rear, there's more space in the trunk. However, here this top cover is a little bit higher than in the all-wheel drive version. That means here the all-wheel drive version went till here. So this is then a little bit more shallow, but just when the cover is mounted. And then you have this split cover like this, more flexible, and then you have this additional storage underneath. So the overall height of the trunk with the front wheel drive is of course higher than here. When we measure it here, it's then here 22 inches. Yeah, 22 inches or 55 centimeters. That's interesting. So you're definitely more flexible. You can also then take it out completely, or both, of course. And then you even more have this lower storage underneath, or for the replacement tire, and so on and so on. So overall then, if you want more luggage flexibility, then go for the two-wheel drive version. No matter if you go front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, or the pure combustion engine, or the inbuilt hybrid, it's all based here on the 1.5 liter 3-cylinder naturally aspirated petrol engine. System output always something 120 horsepower, so not too fast, of course. And when you go for the hybrid, then you have a lithium-ion battery as a small buffer battery. It serves right here, as we know from the Toyota systems. 130 kilometers an hour is the top pure electric speed. 170 kilometers an hour is the top overall speed. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge, here with the Yaris Cross, and also in the hybrid version, all-wheel drive. And here, by the way, if you think you need to see your local optometrist, no, the rear view camera is really that bad, so that's a disappointment. But let's see about the other stuff. And if it's using the hybrid system, the electric, pure electric driving or not, really depends on conditions. If you have like AC on, how full the battery is actually. Usually at the moment like this, you can start in the EV mode, and that's good for your local neighborhood, for example. But here, the battery is not too full. Here now you can hear that the combustion engine is also on. So it really depends. The vehicle automatic, going off the throttle, automatically goes back in there. Suspension here, you feel you're sitting a little bit higher than in the normal Yaris, but the looks is definitely the crucial thing, So, and of course the interior and exterior height. But surprisingly, although it looks so much different than the normal Yaris, it doesn't drive that different. That's really interesting. And of course, that's due to the same wheelbase, same platform, and so on. But yeah, I mean, there are some differences, definitely. But it's really astonishing that you can have this completely different exterior, but still remains somewhat of this small car feeling. The steering is really nice and precise. Nice and precise. That's a good marketing slogan, right? Like, buy the new steering wheel. Nice and, what did it say? Nice and precise, right? Okay, once again, buy this new steering wheel. It's nice and precise. Okay, so what I mean is, here there's no dead zone area, like this. And also really natural feeling of what I'm doing with the steering. So yeah, that's really, really good. Of course, there's not much power to expect from, be it the hybrid engine or also the normal combustion engine. It's more about then, of course, the fuel economy, where you can just use a few liters per 100 kilometers. Here with the hybrid engine, it will be more efficient, especially in city driving, because here then you have these moments again where it's only electric mode. You have some recuperation when going downhill and so on, and this then really makes sense. Therefore, some of the markets, like the German market, go for hybrid only models. Overview, when I'm looking to the rear, it's actually quite good. Also to the sides, so can't complain there at all. It is also packed with assistance systems. And most of them are also standard, like the adaptive cruise control, for example. And there's also blind spot monitor and so on. The head-up display is an option, yes. And this is also a difference to the normal Yaris. Here we can get a head-up display, where the normal Yaris does not get a head-up display. So that's one thing, a big advantage, definitely. Typical 3-cylinder sound. The 3-cylinders sound actually sportier than the 4-cylinders. That's quite astonishing, just based on the on the cylinder count actually. You will soon also hear when I what it's like when I accelerate a little bit harder. But here what I found quite nice is that the seats are actually very comfortable, so they not only look cool, but they're actually also really comfortable. And once again, oh, bird. And once again, you sit a little bit higher than the Yaris, but it's not a completely different driving feeling. So overall, for such a small car, it's really relaxed, I would call it that way. And really the seat ergonomics, they have improved it so much if you compare previous generation Yaris and then here this current generation, be it Cross or not Cross. So this is one of the major things that taller people feel now more at home in this new Yaris generation. And here, of course, you then have a little bit more trunk, especially here in the Cross version, and just more design and style and so on. I also have this hybrid gauge, by the way, here in the instruments where I can check it out, what's happening. And with the rear electric motor, it's not that it would be running all the time. So in most situations, this will feel completely the same, four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive. Difference is really as soon if there's a wheel spin, like in snowy conditions or something, then the rear electric motor sets in. Why did they do that? They wanted to still concentrate on the front combustion engine and front electric motor due to the fuel economy. So they say that's just better for that. And so they didn't go for any major share in the rear or something. It is possible, as I said earlier, up to 60% of the power to the rear, but that's again just in these slippery conditions, or when I pick the trail mode, for example, intentionally, or the snow mode. These modes then switch the parameters a little bit more, and well, let's see if we can somehow feel that. Oh, there's fixed speed camera in 500 meters, it says. That's good. So, yeah, I said earlier the new infotainment system is not that good, but maybe we're still becoming friends after all, right? Thank you for the notice. Oh, there's also a sign off for the speed camera. So, now when we're on throttle, then to normal mode. Do you feel any difference, Jonas?
No.
Once again, uphill now acceleration. This is all front wheel. Now to the snow mode. It's hardly that you feel any difference then here, but so it will just be when there's really some, beginning to have wheel spin in the front in these conditions, then you will more feel the rear. So it's maybe something when you are really in snowy conditions, like typically when you're like in Minnesota or something, or in the Alps region in Europe, then there would be an all-wheel drive coming really handy, and you might go for that. But other than that, I would rather say, you can also stick with the two-wheel drive version, front-wheel drive version, and then, as we shown earlier, you also have some more space in the trunk. I think that is actually the better advantage. As for going hybrid or non-hybrid, when you have the choice on your market, the Toyota's hybrid systems are actually, there's another one, are actually very interesting, because here, for example, then stuck in traffic, you can use this as well. So the question is, are you predominantly doing motorway runs, even though it's a small car, and you driving long ways, steady speed? And the hybrid system won't do such an effect. But if you have a lot of city driving included, or here topography changes, then it does make sense and also gives you consumption advantages. Let's see what we could score here so far. We're now at an average about like 5 liters or something, but we didn't drive too far yet. But when we go down here now, for example, all the way in the EV mode, and then you can also on the long run, you can also score some 4 liters on 100 kilometers, for example. It really always depends on the conditions. Overall, I have to say, it feels kind of small car-like still. It doesn't feel so much SUV from the inside, and it looks like this from the outside. This is, for example, different in the VW T-Cross, which does feel significantly different from the VW Polo, for example. With the Ford Puma, that's the thing. It does feel also quite similar to the Fiesta there as well. And this is also where the competition definitely comes from. So, and I want to show you one more acceleration definitely. So let's get to a little faster road and do it there. yeah, definitely good to have the good fuel economy. Now close to like 4.5 liters more kilometers, so 50 plus mpg US or in something between 60 and 70 mpg UK. Really decent. Then let's go in the driving mode to the power mode and accelerate it out. Let's see, from 40. 80, 90, 100 kilometers an hour. Woo! Racing, and that was also uphill. Really have to say that. Of course, an even Fiesta test. Yeah, so for Autobahn overtaking maneuvers, not the best one, of course. But here now at 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles an hour, it's actually quite decent. As for the noise insulation, that's also something they majorly worked here in this new generation. Suspension wise, by the way, when you have like normal road conditions, it's actually quite nice how it dampens out waves and so on. And also, it doesn't lean too much to the left and the right, so that feels very good and natural. Just when you drive over some fierce bumps, yeah, then it does get rough from suspension. However, since you have this good seating position and a great seating, ergonomics and so on, it's not that it would hurt in your lower back or something. So definitely for me, the seats basically the best here, both in the new Yaris and the new Yaris Cross here. The head-up display is special for the Yaris Cross, and to me the best advantage for the Yaris Cross that they have just more space in the trunk because of the longer rear overhang, and of course this this cool crossover look, definitely. Anyone still remember the original Ford Puma that was built between 1997 and 2001? A small sports coupe built on the Fiesta platform. This is the all-new Ford Puma, and you obviously see it. It's more crossover, small SUV-ish alike. Does that still work, and does it still somewhat fit to that heritage? We'll find out in our full review here of the all-new Ford Puma on Autogefühl. An exterior, interior and the driving experience, also showing you this titanium X trim and also the ST line, everything of that in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! A very interesting and remarkable styling here for the front of the all-new Ford Puma. It does look very sporty indeed, although it sits on this Ford Fiesta platform, but a little bit higher, 5 centimeters or 2 inches. You can see here this one is the titanium X trim. It has a more, let's say, stylish and at the same time more crossover trim, a little bit more elegant. Here also with a chrome frame around, and then this contrasting off-road style in the lower part with a silver look. However, we also have the ST line for you. That one then comes with a black frame around the grille and has a sportier look. In both cases we have those very big headlamps. They come standard with LED and also with this interesting daytime running light. Optionally, you can also get LED technology for the high beam and also for the turning indicators. 4 meters 19, 13'7" or 165 inches is the length here of the Ford Puma in this new generation, and let's say that's about this longer than the Ford Fiesta or Ford EcoSport and about this shorter than the Ford Kuga. So it sits between the EcoSport and the Kuga lengthwise at least. So we can see here it has a rather sensual form, also some sports coupe alike, especially here with this ending. A little bit cheap materials here around the frames. This one again, as the titanium X trim level, has those crossover wheel arches. However, then the ST line is a sportier look than with painted wheel arches. We have it there in the blue color. This one here, a strong red tone. 18-inch wheels in this case here, so smaller ones available, 17-inch, but also bigger ones, 19-inch in the sport design pack. 19 is a little bit big for this kind of small car, isn't it? So 18 might be a good compromise indeed. And the ST line comes with a sport suspension, which will be a stiffer ride. Overall, there's titanium X, ST line and ST line X. The X is then, with a little bit more trim and features always. Soon more into details of that in the interior. What do you think about the exterior design? In the rear, we see a strong Puma lettering. This one again with the titanium X trim, here with a silver contrast in the lower part, and an honest design. We do have the rear exhaust underneath. There are no fake exhausts whatsoever. And if you want to take another look at the ST line with a sporty look, here it is also in our overlay pictures. So which one would you actually go for design-wise? The titanium here or titanium X, or rather the sportier ST line? As for engines, there's a 1.5 liter diesel 4-cylinder with 120 horsepower, and then the main engines will be the turbo petrol engines, 1 liter of displacement, 3 cylinders, and either the one we have here today, 125 horsepower. That one either without or with a MHEV system. They call it then hybrid, although it's just a small hybrid, mild hybrid system, or with 155 horsepower. Then the acceleration figure is a second faster, so it's 9 seconds, or with this one here, 10 seconds to 1 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. I'm really looking forward if this MF system here will have any advantages for the fuel economy. Soon more to that. We usually have a 6-speed manual gearbox. Later there will also be a 7-speed dual clutch transmission for the 125 horsepower version, but then just without the MHEV system. Usually other manufacturers, especially for example at Volkswagen, they say we only do the MHEVs with the automatic gearboxes. Here at Ford it seems to be just the other way around. Car key, quite compact, good quality, open and close. Also close the electric hatch, so electric hatch is available, soon more to that. You can also use the keyless entry if the ignition would be off, but we have it running at the moment. But first of all, door closing sound, actually quite solid. And now we get this warning sound, because we have actually everything on with the displays. You can see how it looks like from here. Now also the beeping sound stopped. So first of all, the interior right here, titanium X trim with a normal round steering wheel. Also from a base supposed to have leatherette steering wheel. That's of course cool. And we have those fabric seats. Those ones here are also zippable, so you can change the covers in this titanium X trim exclusively. Fabric on the inside here is also quite durable and looks nice with the gray one. Looks living room, Scandinavian living room we like, so nice design. So good idea. And also then with those removable covers if you get any major stains on it and so on. Steering wheel on the left side, you set the cruise control. On the right side you can change something from those digital instruments. It starts still with analog instruments, optional those 12.3 inch digital instruments. And what's also quite cool is that we have a fake wood interior and it feels matte and nice, so it's a very good fake wood. Why not? And also the inside of the doors are remarkable. Here in the titanium X trim we have this fabric here with contour stitches. It feels nice, looks nice, pretty cool. Also some notable inside door pockets. Well, maybe not for round bottles, but for a lot of other clutter. And we also have some shots from the ST line for you. Then at the inside of the doors you get, for example, at the red, you get a different decor trim, more carbon fiber like, but also not real one. And also a steering wheel with red contour stitches, and it's a little sportier look definitely. Also you have sport seats, where in the ST line you have sport seats with fabric, and ST line X you get those sport seats here where you have some supposed to be animal skin on the outside. That's of course not really necessary. Let's get inside, and it is actually a little bit easier than getting in the Fiesta because we sit a little bit higher and therefore it's also a little bit more comfortable. So when I put the seat all the way down with 1.86 m or 6'1", there is just a little bit of headroom left because this one does have the panoramic roof, which goes in front and also in the rear, so it's actually split and you can actually also open it. Gotta put the ignition on for that, so open it like this. And it's actually quite substantial opening, and either way, open or close, it does leave a lot of light in here, so that's actually pretty cool. Nice feature, and by the way, with manual covers for the front and the rear as well. Well, and It's not the most comfortable seating position, I have to say, although it's maybe a little bit better in the Fiesta, but seating comfort for tall people is not top of the game, I would say. Steering wheel can be moved in and out and also up and down. It's a good process. And this seat even has a seat massage function, has a button here at the side. Well, it's not like real very sophisticated massage like we know like from luxury vehicles, but it's something, but it's not an option I would say you need to have. Interior overview, here we can see, yeah, Fiesta platform definitely resembles that. Soft touch here with the dashboard. Then we have this fake matte wood element. Again, good quality here as well, so it's a nice addition, definitely. Pretty thick steering wheel. Again, would be a little bit different in the ST line. And those digital instruments, really clear view, so more details to that. And an 8-inch screen you can get right here, but it's in this case also standard, so the Puma has a little bit higher equipment overall than the Fiesta. And this one, the CX-3 system, soon also more details to that. Also Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support. Still a volume knob, but here cheap rubber surrounding right there. So some of the interior parts, yeah, pretty cheaply done. Also in the lower climate unit right there. But it's still good to have this climate unit, yes. And also, ranging from 23 to 30K overall in price, you can maybe also understand that seat heating in the lower part is available, even a heated steering wheel. Then in the very lower part, there's also inductive charging for the smartphone, and you can also plug the phone right here in with the cable for the CarPlay or Android Auto connection. 6-speed manual gearbox in this case. Then we have a drive mode selector in the lower part, some cubby holes, and also the adaptive cup holders. Last but not least, this armrest with the leatherette cover, and when you put it up, then you also have some more cubby holes underneath and one more USB charger. Oh, fancy Puma visualization, but again blocked by those messages. So interesting, we have a hybrid gauge here, so when we are actually rolling, and then it shows when it does recuperate, so when you have the brakes, then energy is gained back there to this smaller battery. And that it's your left side speed, right side RPMs, but you can also switch around something. And when you have a route set, we will see that while driving very soon, then you will also have some GPS information in this digital instrument. That's of course also another advantage. Now deals to the screen, as all via touch. And this is then the GPS, which is somewhat okay, not the best one, not the worst one, you can get along with it. But yeah, maybe use the Android Auto or Apple CarPlay GPS, it will be a little bit better. Then you can go back to the, where you were actually. This is the home screen then, and you can add the phone via Bluetooth or then with a cable. Settings here, you can scroll through that. And what's, for example, interesting, when I press this special seat button here left next to the seat, there's also some settings here for different parts of the seats in the screen, and also this massage function which changed a little bit then in the seat. And it's interesting to have, but again, not the most sophisticated one. And when you put in the cable then of the phone, then we'll have the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto if it would be an Android phone. There it is. It's a nice integration, pretty clear also, and this B&O optional sound system is actually pretty cool. Has some notable bass as well, and a very crystal clear sound, especially for this price segment. So that's a pleasant surprise. Only thing still missing here with the Sync 3, when you want to use CarPlay and the car internal GPS, that ain't working, because then it switches to the maps of the iPhone in this case. You can say you want to use that anyway, but if you have a limited data usage, then of course it can be a problem. Yeah, that happens after a while, so guess the car wants to tell me, Thomas, finally finish up with the infotainment system. But one more, I want to show you the rear view camera, which has a okay resolution, not the best one, not the worst ones. And here the helping lights adapt accordingly. Well, it's also against the light at the moment, but good to have it here over the whole screen. Even though it's just a small car, always nice to have it. So let's get in the rear, and I mean, it's not primarily vehicle thought out to carry 4 tall adults, and yeah, I don't fit here when I am actually driving, so yeah, hitting my knees right there. Also headroom wise, hello and goodbye. So yeah, I do fit in here, but it's not like, you know, so I have to be aware of that. There actually the Ford EcoSport is definitely better because it has a better, you know, package on the inside. So here I would rather say emergency seats for tall adults. Also zippable, by the way, here for the rear seats. That's better than for the kids. So rather for kids, also here with ISOFIX than with, you know, real child seat. You flip the seats already from here, by the way. Soon take a look from the trunk. But it already has this nice styling here with the fabric also from the titanium X trim, and just some cubby hole in the middle part, so no additional chargers. Pretty basic, but you also have a part of the panoramic roof here, which you can also close or open manually. And finally, a lot to show you with the trunk here. First of all, we have the foot kick opening mechanism for the electric hatch. That's quite nice. And then we have this, you know, pretty well sized trunk overall. So it's 456 liters overall, but soon more to that. 73 centimeters in length actually. And in width, it's a little bit less than a meter. And the height here, just to this cover, is about 40 centimeters. That's okay. Interesting, by the way, this top cover is on the one hand a good solution because it's mounted on the top part, so you are all free and flexible here. However, those holders here at the side, one of those got loose already, so you can clip them in again. But yeah, this has pro and cons, this construction in this case. So there, you can put up this cover here. That's interesting, also fix it. And then you have this so-called mega box here, 50 kilos or 80 liters. And you can even put wet stuff in there, because when you remove this lower cover, there is actually an opening to the floor. So like this, and then you can see here, you can really look through the ground. So you can, you know, maybe go with the dog and wash the paws. I don't know. So maybe it's like, you know, even for surfing or something like water sports, that might be good. Or cold beverages, put it full of ice. Yeah, that could be something. It's actually also quite deep. So this one here is over 30 centimeters deep. So yeah, therefore, yeah, 35 centimeters. And then you could put maybe like from there to the top here, like a, you know, for a plant transport or something. That would be another use case. And last but not least, what about the overall length? So because we have not a fixed cover here that goes from the bottom, so the one from the top, we can easier flip the seats right here, top tether at the back part, and then we go with 147 centimeters. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the all-new Ford Puma, and yeah, let's give this 1-liter 3-cylinder engine a little boost. First gear, second gear, and drive a little bit more agile, because, I mean, the Heritage is a small sports coupe. Does this one here as a crossover or small SUV hold up to the Heritage? Yeah, I think it does. Fiesta platform, it's still quite agile to drive, although it's a little bit higher, but actually quite cool. And I mean, this is almost like a rally Heritage we have here now. So it's actually quite a lot of fun, pretty cool. Found some interesting roads here for you. Why not? So motorway driving here at 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour, and I mean, the road surface here is actually quite rough, and it's not super silent as for the road or tire noise, but again, it's also the road. As for wind noise, it's actually quite okay. So there's no disturbing wind stuff here going on somewhere. So, and especially at lower speeds, it's even better, but probably not best in segment, but also not worst in segment. Again, it's also about the road. We'll also keep you updated how it is with a different surface right here. Then there is the blind spot monitor. They are flashing in the side mirrors. Is part of the assistance systems package, which you should get. That's definitely very helpful. You do have the cruise control right here at the steering wheel. It's also an adaptive one. then again included in this package. And then you can set it here with the left thumb, and the distance to the car in front of you is being kept. It also works here, although we have the manual gearbox. This mild hybrid system seems to work because we could score some decent fuel economy for such a small engine. 5.5 liters on 100 kilometers, that's really decent. That's more than 40 mpg US and yeah, close even to 50 mpg UK. So it's really cool. And also this 6-speed gearbox, which are not using that frequent, of course, on the motorway. It's really very good to use, so very smooth shifting process up to the 5th one again, and it's totally fine. Since we're driving here the 125 horsepower version, so the less stronger one of the turbo version, you might ask yourself, yeah, is that still really enough? I mean, there's not such a big difference between those two horsepower versions. This one here will be also the most important one. The MHEV indeed seems to have good effect on fuel economy, and since you do have the turbo, you still have, you know, some power reserves here. For example, when you're at 100 or like now at about 90 and accelerate a little bit out, third gear, 100, 120. So that's still okay. It's of course no rocket. It's supposed to be rather a budget vehicle. But still, since you have the turbo, you can still accelerate on the motorway. That's possible. Also with those digital instruments, which are optional or then included in one of the higher trims. Got the GPS information right there, so I have the GPS here on the right side and also in the central screen. So that's definitely very helpful. And so I don't have to look over right there. I can just have the central view indeed. Something I always recognize, especially when it's like a cloudy sky, is I do see those lines from the heated windscreen. Some see them, some do not. I do see them. Don't like it that much. But then again, when it's wintertime, it's really good to have this heated front screen when you are in, like, you know, outside park and don't have like a basement garage and so on. So the assistance systems work quite well, and I have to say, I mean, the upright seating position here in comparison to a Fiesta, where you sit 5 centimeters or 2 inches higher, that's also quite good. So it's indeed a little bit more comfortable than in the Ford Fiesta. However, especially for tall people, I would still not say that this is a vehicle I would want to go for like an hour-long road trip. You know, there are more suitable vehicles for that. In this case, probably also bigger ones or some of the competitors, because the seating comfort is not the best one. Yet again, what Ford really does very well is all of the driving features, you know, like the steering, how you feel that, you know, is really direct. It gives you a good connection from driver, steering input, car and the road. That's really cool. Then the shifting also here, when you're, you know, more roundabouts, city traffic and so on. Shifting is so crisp and precise, so it's one of the very rare cars where I wouldn't have a problem to go for a manual gearbox. There will be an automatic gearbox later on for this 125 horsepower engine without the MF. However, that's quite strange, but yeah, that's how it is. But again, the manual gearbox that does actually do fine. Yeah, it's actually quite fun to put in the gears, and that's really cool, definitely. Also, now again, back to the third gear. Also, the throttle and the brake input is really on point. Suspension-wise, I did pick this car as main vehicle on purpose because it does not have the sport suspension, and I would not advise for this vehicle for the sport suspension. We already have those 18-inch wheels mounted. You can go smaller if you want a little bit more comfort, but they do actually quite fine. So as long as you don't have the sport suspension, we also have enough comfort, and it is already sporty enough, you know. There is still this sporty Ford Fiesta vibe because we have the same platform. So it doesn't feel much less sportier. Yes, the Fiesta does move a little bit more agile. This one, and again, with a little higher positioning, maybe a little bit more comfort. So there is a notable difference, yes, but still, it's a small car, it's agile, it has this, you know, this Ford driving dynamics with the good suspension, which they usually do quite well, and the gearbox and the steering. So all of the driving characteristics usually in our Ford reviews is the thing where they, score best, score most. And the least things usually like, interior look and feel and, seating comfort, that's where they don't do that well. However, in this case, also with the titanium X trim, you see it also here while driving, it's quite cozy. You have this fabric here, then this fake wood, which feels really real. So in this case here, it does make a more premium feel than just a Fiesta, for example. That's also because they wanted to make the Puma a little bit more exclusive. So controlling the GPS, by the way, while driving is not the best, but you can actually do that because it stands out like this. And again, if I just want to look at the next intersection coming, then I can always take a look at those digital instruments right there. And even with some acceleration, we really remain with this quite good fuel economy figure. So really positive about that. So let's see. There are different driving modes available. It's like normal, eco. In the eco mode, the throttle input is being reduced just a little bit. Now we go to a little bit of a smaller B road. Yeah, definitely you feel that in the eco mode the throttle input is not that, not that high. So supposed to save a little bit fuel. A little more countryside. What's always the case is when you use the brakes with the MF system that you get some recuperation into that battery, and then it is being used, for a little bit more boost for the electric consumers and so on, and then it saves fuel. So when you have the sports mode, it's directly the opposite. So throttle input is being increased. If you were to have the automatic gearbox, it would also change shifting characteristics and so on. So it's a little bit crisper, everything. But of course, when you have manual gearbox, it doesn't make such a difference altogether. Now we also have something of an uneven road from time to time, some potholes and so on. And so far, the suspension is holding up quite good for that. And whoa. The GPS didn't predict that. Interesting. That's maybe a road that is still being built. Yeah, probably this is a GPS from the future. Interesting. But that makes us ease the car around and show you it's actually quite easy to ease it around. So again, the compact dimensions. Nice view now, right here, way on the back. Yeah, why not? That's live in Autogefühl, most authentic driving parts, so on. So overall, a very good driving experience here with the Ford Puma. In different aspects, could be a little bit more silent on the motorway, that's maybe, and a little bit more seating comfort. But all other driving features, steering, suspension, steering input especially, and also the shifting here, really good. And also with a decent fuel economy. I think also that 125 horsepower version will be enough indeed for you. It's, it doesn't need to be actually the 155 horsepower. If you want to spend a little bit more extra money and also want to have a little bit more boost, sure, why not? Then you can go for that. And this MHEV system seems to be a quite good development already. So we're getting onto the road again, so we find our way. Now the next stop sign, and we can also give you an acceleration from standstill. That will also be quite interesting. Also how the front axle has been reacting when I push it a little bit more. Yeah, it does steer me a little bit, but it's actually quite okay. That's 80 kilometers an hour already. So you see, quite decent, especially from standstill, because this platform here, this Fiesta platform, is actually quite light, and that's definitely very helpful. And is it here or no? Not here. So today the GPS route is quite funny, but again, rear view camera, easing the car around, fast to the front. So something like this you can do only with a small car. If I would have a bigger car, I would need like a little bit more time to ease it back and forth around. So we can just be a little bit on the discovery way with you here today. Back to second gear. Maybe this would be situations where you could drive in a higher gear with the little bit more horsepower version. That could work actually. But overall, think I'm really happy that I picked this version here for you today. Also good grip again from the steering wheel, has a good size. And as I told you earlier, supposed to be also leather-wrapped surface. It depends maybe on the trim level. Couldn't read that in the price list, but it starts at least with the leather-wrapped cover. So also a good decision that Ford took here. And of course, those titanium X seats here with those, zippable covers. Also pretty nice idea, because some people might say, when I have kids and maybe drive a little bit more dynamic and then they spill some drinks or whatever on the seats. I need like a slick surface, but that's really not needed here. So you can also wash them then on demand. So pretty interesting. So now uphill acceleration, still with this turbo, no problem. That's so interesting where this GPS is leading us here today. Shall we drive here? Maybe a little bit softer. I think, no, that's okay. Let's do a little bit soft off-roading. Why not, man? So now some potholes, and it's actually quite decent from the suspension, so it's not too uncomfortable. It's quite okay. I mean, after all, it's like a crossover SUV, so why not? The only thing is that it might get a little bit dirty now, so we have a dust trail behind us. But always happy to test different situations also here in our driving reviews. Yeah, it's actually quite fun, going a little bit sideways and sliding with it. I mean, it's front-wheel drive only, but still always fun to drive a little bit soft off-road at least. So, and now the 155 horsepower turbo petrol engine and the ST Line X. First of all, let's find some acceleration difference. 50 kilometers to 90. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like the last second was missing because I could push up the second gear. I wanted to test that, like to 85 something, and then was hitting the ref limiter, but was almost, so 50 to 85 that was possible in the second gear. But you see, it has a little bit better punch. So the acceleration difference is again the non-MHEV system, 10 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. Then the 125 horsepower turbo petrol with the MF 9.8, so that's a little different from this electric boost. And then this one here, 155 horsepower, 9 seconds, so a second faster. And it is somewhat notable, so a little bit more punch. However, it's not the biggest difference. It's not that you would say you drive a completely different engine. It is the same engine, just a little bit different tune electronic wise. Yeah, nice tune, man. So yeah, maybe it's just about spending some more money or not. But then again, I always, for durability reasons, rather say pick the biggest displacement available and the lowest horsepower spec for an engine. But yeah, 1 liter of displacement, However, fuel economy wise, those new engines here and also with the MF system, they do actually work. So that's pretty cool. And this will also be the very same here. So I said earlier 5.5 liters, but when you really try to keep it calm, 6 liters is more realistic on 100 kilometers. So that's then 39 mpg US, 47 mpg UK. And this will be the very same with this engine when you drive it the same way, when you also drive it in a calm way. So maybe, not sure if like with 30 horsepower more you want to push a little bit more, I guess not. So fuel economy will more or less be the same between those systems with the MHEV included each. Then, well, we do have the sport suspension in here. The sport suspension does automatically come with the ST line. The price list does not offer a choice to depick it. Maybe you can ask your dealer. Probably it's not possible, at least not according to the price list or configurator. So And ST Line X just builds on the ST line and then adds some more features. It's the same with the titanium, so titanium and titanium X. X is just, some more equipment extra. So both ST line and ST line X do come with this sports suspension right here. And it is a little bit stiffer, yes, but it's not, not stiff in a way like BMW M Sports fixed suspension, which we, for example, had in the X1 or X2, and has like, wow, that's like, shouldn't go for that ever. You do have more comfort with the normal suspension, yes. It is notable, but it's not like catastrophic or something. So, my favorite pick actually would be the titanium, or let's say the titanium X, because it has those, special fabric covers then on the inside, it's like with the wood and stuff, with the fake wood, but on the outside the ST line. So that would be my favorite pick actually. That won't be possible, especially our friends in the UK. They tend to pick the ST line, and I'm happy to say yes, more comfort without the sport suspension, but it's still okay. You do have some more feedback than here when you're going in a slalom. That does fit the vehicle, and indeed with the sport suspension it does come closer to the original Ford Puma. Beautiful also with those white villages here in southern Spain, by the way, so we have a nice route here for you as well. When we have some uneven roads here, you feel maybe a little bit more, but still somewhat okay. So 19-inch wheels then together with the sport suspension, that might get too rough, but here with the 18-inch it's still okay. The shifting lever is also a little bit different. We have this this metal cover from that. Why not? Doesn't make too much of a difference. And the steering wheel is also different, a little bit thicker as for the grip. It's also nice, but it's not like a huge difference. So I also had fun driving the other one. Overall, indeed, you do have the feeling that the ST line or ST line X is a little bit sportier than the titanium one. We have the combination here, a little bit more horsepower, but that is not connected to the trim level. That's just in this very car. Sooner or later, you can get then all the trims with all the different engines. Then, of course, different steering, wheels, just for the visual part, shifting. Of course, the suspension, this is actually the major difference, but again, not absolute different car. It was like a pothole. That's something you feel a little bit harsher than in this sport suspension. Now we can get a little bit more agile driving fun once more here. Really nice with this vehicle. And when I leave the throttle, I can also check those hybrid gauges again. Then the battery is recharging, recuperating. Pretty helpful, and that's also good for the fuel economy. And then at some point I also see on the right side when the electric boost is being activated. So that's actually pretty efficient. Then if you just leave the throttle, or even if you're on the brakes, then you see there's recuperation, if you want to look at that gauge all the time, of course. And with the coasting or sailing function that is also included here. So how does that work? So first of all, most of the time probably it will be better to use the recuperation when I just leave the throttle, especially if I want to reduce speed. However, if you want to roll rather, then you could, so you don't want to really reduce the speed, you could theoretically press the clutch, and then the RPMs after a while now drop to 1000. Not completely deactivated like with other sophisticated sailing modes. The same happens when I just put it in neutral, then it drops to 1000, but the engine is not completely shut off. So we do have those new sophisticated systems like Audi, BMW, Mercedes and so on. They are of course more expensive, and combined with the automatic gearbox, that's probably also a thing. They can also roll or coast with shutting the engine off at like 100 kilometers an hour or something. Not possible here, but it drops to 1000, and it also deactivates one of the cylinders. So you're really running on 2 cylinders then. That's pretty remarkable. However, when does it shut off completely? So there's no one behind us. That's just something when you're actually really slow and approaching a trip now. Like below 20 kilometers an hour, 0, and we're rolling. As soon as I put in the gear, it's getting on again. So this is a function like a sophisticated stop-start mechanism. So when you're rolling towards the traffic light, and then already the 2-3 seconds ahead before you're coming to a full stop, then already the engine is dropping to 0 RPMs, and this is also then again supposed to save some more fuel. So very interesting with this MHEV system here. Quite a lot of times we hadn't had that, big effect on the fuel economy, but here obviously it does make sense. That's of course very interesting. And yeah, there was a Toyota CHR facing towards us with a real hybrid system, so not only for the 8-volt board net. So this is also something different, but again, the fuel economy difference is not that huge. And again, here in those windy corners towards Ronda, beautiful roads always, this car shows its true potential. And although it is a little bit put up, crossover, SUV style-ish, it still has a remarkable driving feeling from the steering input here, and also with a little bit stiffer suspension, which is totally fine then for those even roads. And the whole natural driving feeling they could create here with the crisp shifting, and again the steering input, and yeah, a little bit better noise insulation, especially at those speeds, like 70, 80 kilometers an hour. That's really good then. So only when you're getting really higher speeds on the motorway. And again, hybrid drive. Not sure if we should call it hybrid, but definitely mild hybrid or MHEV. And I always like to have those new technologies, a lot to talk about, and especially when they do work. So, biggest thing we can take away from MHEV system, pretty cool, works fuel economy wise. If it's 125 or 155 horsepower, not such a big difference. ST line looks way cooler on the outside, yes, but maybe you prefer it otherwise, want more that crossover look. And good finding for me is that the sport suspension is not as stiff as expected. So that's pretty cool. So probably, yeah, not sure. Well, the interior is nicer in the titanium or titanium X, I think, but that's, something else you might think about. So yeah, I would definitely like, at the end of the day, ST line on the exterior and titanium X on the interior. That's my favorite pick for today. It's not possible, but maybe you Ford guys, product managers, if you're watching this. Yeah, we have a lot of automotive manufacturer product managers always watching our reviews because they can compare the different vehicles. And so all greetings to you then, shout out. Maybe if you're watching this from Ford, maybe you offer an ST line titanium X for me. Please. Yeah, that would be cool, right? So what's your take, guys? Please tell me in the comments, would you go for the titanium or titanium X or the ST line X? Which would be your choice, and what do you think also about driving this MHEV system here? And of course, I leave you then here with another nice corners here, road towards Ronda. Yeah, in the past you could drive a little bit faster here. Now they really have reduced the speed because some guys were exceedingly speeding this one, especially motorbikes. There were also some fierce accidents, so you can also understand that they reduced the speed here right now. Still quite cool to drive it here with about 60 kilometers an hour. Was a little bit more fun in the past, but safety first, of course. So, some more corners here with this beautiful landscape in southern Spain. And then we'll hop on over back to the red car with the very final conclusion for today. And now to our conclusion for today with the all-new Ford Puma. Yes, it's, it does work actually, so it's not too different from the original concept, from the 2000s. So it is a sporty ride. Yes, it's also on the Fiesta platform. Yeah, a little bit higher, but that's also then giving you a little bit more seating comfort. Compact dimensions, so you get along in the city very well. Interesting ideas with those zippable seats, for example, and also with this special box in the trunk. So why not? And a little bit more comfort, a little bit higher than a Fiesta, without, having too much other compromises and so on. And I think also the interior quality, we see a little bit more different features. For example, also this fabric at the inside of the door, special here for the titanium X trim. So indeed something where Ford wasn't that good so far. As for the interior look and feel, also with this fake wood, especially in the titanium X trim, better, I think. The ST line is sportier, yes, especially also on the exterior. Really crisp driving scenario here with the good steering input. The shifting then, which is also pretty cool with Ford, and also, that you have a connected feel, steering, driver, car, and so on. So what do you think about this one here? Still quite good price performance deal.
Welcome to a full driving review of the updated Mazda CX-3. Exterior, interior and the driving experience here on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. Thomas in front of the camera and also our Thomas B behind the camera. And we're also going to talk about the differences Mazda CX-3 and the bigger brother, the CX-30. Why would be a reason still to go for the CX-3? And also all about the changes we have here today in Full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! In the front, the Mazda CX-3 still shows a very modern look, and here horizontal fins in the grille. Then here this chrome element leads over cleverly to the headlamps. Base version would still be halogen. Then as for the mid-trim, go with LED for the main unit, and then optional, we also see it here, the matrix LED. Then a big crossover cladding in the lower part, and this color here for today is called polymetal gray, newly available also for the CX-3. It's also quite desired already for some other Mazda models, and now again introduced right here, and I think it gives a very unique look to this vehicle. The length is at 4.27 meters, 14 foot or 168 inches, and wheels come either in 16-inch now from standard aluminum or optional with the design package. These here the 18-inch, but there's directly steps 16 or 18. But I think, why not? They also do it for the Mazda 3 and for the CX-30 now in the very, very same way. Big crossover cladding, not as large as in the new CX-30. So the CX-3 is still a little bit shorter and also with a shorter wheelbase than the new bigger brother CX-30. Here then with the chrome element in the lower part, still a very modern look. And you see here the design element, here the dropping line, actually falls down and then dissolves in this area here, so quite cleverly done here to give a little bit more accentuation here on the front door. But you can see here with the small windows, this is not the best then for the overview from the inside to the outside. Yeah, however, this has always been about the design here for the CX-3. In the rear we can see here a modern tail lamp signature, and then big crossover cladding in the lower area and real exhaust tips here for this naturally aspirated engine. Mazda cleaned up the engine lineup, so it's all about here now the 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol engine, naturally aspirated engine. That's special with Mazda. They have improved the injection system to make it actually cleaner directly from the injection, so they don't need a particle filter also, and also because it doesn't have a turbo, and also new cylinder on demand technology. Here in Europe, you only get the 120 horsepower version now and front-wheel drive, manual gearbox or automatic. And in the US, you can still get the 150 horsepower version, also then automatic and all-wheel drive.
The new vehicle key now as the same, you know, as with the new models. This is just a sticker here for the press event, but I mean, I wouldn't say that it's a big upgrade. Maybe the older one was even better. What's your take? Then keyless entry works like here. You press it here on this knob, and when you have a, you know, middle trim level, also here with the automatic folding of the side mirrors like this, and they fold in and out quite well, so a little bit narrow when parking. Then door closing sound, of course, wait, which is, yeah, in the front actually quite cool. Just with the handle, the sound of the handle is not that good. Inside, hard pink and top part, but then beautiful inside microfiber in gray that really fits also the polymetal gray color on the outside. Not exactly the same gray color, but still a cool, you know, color code. Then here this is not carbon fiber, but it has a look of that. Automatic window lever just for the driver's door. Then, yeah, some reasonable door, inside pockets, optional Bose sound system. And then here you've got some red accentuations, for example, for the inside air vents. Hard pack material also on the top part here. Here as well. Then the steering wheel with a normal Mazda look. Pick up the phone here. Clicking through the information of the gauges on the left. Right side for the cruise control and so on. And then as for the seating, the form has been updated. So the seat form has been updated, so it more follows a natural S of the spine, so more seating comfort indeed, and that works. However, here there's a surface, optional animal skin, but base would be fabric, or you can also get a fabric leatherette mix, which we would recommend, so either pure fabric or the fabric leatherette, because it also gives you softer seating comfort and also stays cool in summer and not that cold in winter as these here. However, as for the seat form, it really has been improved. So you have, although you're not in a big car, you have good seating comfort here in the front. Also good view to the front. Just here the view to the rear is a little bit limited, as I said earlier, because of the small windows. Here we also have electric seats, but the base versions would also come with the manual seats, which are also just fine for a segment, for a car in that segment right here. Steering wheel with a manual control like this, in and out and up and down, so you can really find a good seating position. And with 1m86 or 6'1", subscribers will know that, still leaves enough headroom in the front. Interior overview, again, hardback materials right here, new 7-inch screen with updated infotainment, soon more to that. Then again, look at the compact steering wheel, the head-up display, if you get one. You can see here it pops out on this separate plastic layer. It's not too helpful because the vision then is not too high. It's more like inside and small in the hood. Soon also more detail to that. So again, not too helpful. Then also folds down again. Nice design element here with the round air vents. And my favorite feature is here in this trim here, the microfiber surface here. That looks really premium, like that. And then in the lower part, easy controls with the steering wheel heating and the heated seats. Then manual climate knob. So yeah, it doesn't give you the best feeling when controlling it, but they are large and they're easy to control while driving. And nowadays, that's a really, really good thing to have that. In the lower area to USB-A chargers, but not too much space for your big smartphone. There, the new technology comes into play because Apple CarPlay and Android Auto stand out for this infotainment system, and Apple CarPlay is now also available wireless, just the Apple CarPlay. Then you can put it somewhere else and this area stays a little bit cleaner. So in this case, then the wireless Apple CarPlay will help. 6-speed manual here today. And here in the lower middle console, there's this turning and pressing knob. Nice clicking sound as well, and you control the infotainment system while driving with it. Of course, also in standstill if you like, some hotkeys to easy access something. Volume knob also manual here, then electric handbrake or electric parking brake. Then in this middle part here, this should be a little bit better attached, and you see also the whole middle console shakes a little bit, so a little bit lacking of build quality there. And then these cup holders are very interesting mechanism to fold them out, but then, you know, they are then somewhat adaptive. Instruments rather classic with a big RPM meter, a sporty look really, then the digital speed. And on the right side you have the consumption meter, for example, so everything kept simple. Now deals to the new 7-inch infotainment system. We know this kind of software right here, and when standing still it also works to use it via touch. Here at the River Rhine today, where we have, I activated the hazard lights. So River Rhine here for you today. And yeah, like this, you can also zoom in and out. But other than that, you can also use the lower control knob then to control things. Zoom in and out, not with pinch and zoom. We have to use the magnifiers right here. Also hotkeys for the main menu is accessible right here. Not too much in this infotainment system, but I mean, you also don't need too much from that actually. Here now on the top part, and the Apple CarPlay with the integration all over the screen, and the optional Bose sound system. Let's test that, and it's actually quite nice for a vehicle in this segment. Of course, you can't expect too much from it, but yeah, it's actually quite clear, so happy with that. Here also the control of the car like this. Other than that, while driving, you do it again with this, lower control knob, which is actually quite okay because the menu structure overall is not too complicated. And newly available is also that there's not only a rear view camera, but also right here, a new 360-degree view in this technology package. The resolution, it's small and the resolution is quite poor, but with the 360 view here, at least you have a little bit better overview. However, to me, the normal rear view camera is actually too small. Here, you can also change the camera image, then you have a little bit bigger, but still the resolution overall should be better meanwhile. And the glove box actually offers, some space, but it's not dampened. A lot of things positive with this vehicle, but one thing I always criticize is that it sounds a little bit weird. When you have the handles and then they snap back. So yeah, so a little bit maybe too empty on the inside. I don't know. Some more dampening materials would be good right there. This is, by the way, here to activate the child lock. Right here, there's an easy solution: activate or deactivate it. You can or cannot open the door from the inside. What is really nice is that we also have the microfiber cover here in this high or middle trim level here at the rear door. This is really cool. Top part is hard pack here, but this is really nicely done. Then you can see here, same styling as for the rear seating area, but this is also one of the problems of this vehicle. Yes, it's a short vehicle, but it does not offer too much legroom. And you'll see it right here when I try to get inside. And this is then also the big advantage of the new CX-30, the bigger brother, due to the longer wheelbase. It's actually, more spacious here. It is soft here in the back part, but you see I actually do not fit in here when I'm also driving in the front with 1.86 or 6'1". Headroom-wise, barely fits. That works. But again, legroom, I do hit the seat here with my, with my knees. So that's definitely the limitation. Other than that, the rear bench is actually quite comfortable. So if you're smaller, that does work then. In the middle part, it is somewhat soft. That's okay. But again, just more or less leg problem and then also a head problem. So it's not the car for tall Ls in the rear. Also substantial middle tunnel here. And then you can fold down this and have some cup holders here. They're also a little bit adaptive. Rather work for bigger bottles. That's actually quite okay. Now to the trunk area. Open it right here. It's a manual opening. Here we go. And we have some luggage set up here for you. So you see that works. It's not too high here actually. I can also show you why. Because when we put that one here out, then there's another step underneath. So you could go a little bit deeper right there, like this. But this, of course, when you have put this one in, then the loading sill here is not too high. And that's, of course, then, a good thing. And taking some measures, here the trunk length is about 70 centimeters. The height here with the cover in place is about 40 centimeters and a couple of centimeters more when you would put out the lower one. And then the length here to the front seat, I already folded one part here. This is about 1.35 meters. And then I can also fold down the other half. I have to go around. That's the more practical solution, definitely. So here we go, like this. This is not the best quality right here, so I think they could fix a little bit of that. However, we're not in the most expensive segment. But still, some deals like these could also be solved a little bit better. welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the updated Mazda CX-3. So we know this engine here from before, but it has been updated. It now has cylinder on demand or cylinder deactivation technology. That means when we do not need the power, 2 of the 4 cylinders are not running. And this can give you some advantages as for the fuel economy, but it won't be the biggest game changer ever that you have a totally different fuel economy than before or so. But surely can't hurt, especially when you're just rolling this vehicle predominantly. 120 horsepower here for the 2-liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine means it's of course not the most powerful car there is. And for Europe, there's only this engine anymore. In the US, you can also still get the 150 horsepower version. That is then better because it gives a little bit more punch. Interesting that they do not need the OPF, the petrol particle filter, because here with the naturally aspirated engine, you don't, create the same kind of, particles that would be with the very small turbo engines. So actually a quite intelligent injection they used in there also has been updated for this model year. Pretty interesting. However, with these naturally aspirated engines, they have a very linear power curve. But when you want some power, you really need to push them. For example, here 60 kilometers to 100 in third gear. Oh, there we go. See, that takes some time. And so sometimes it might then just be clever to just go a gear lower, for example. So this can be helpful, or you just need to turn the RPMs up a little bit more. Or here then, when you want to accelerate out further, just go a gear lower, and then you're definitely a little bit sportier right here. We can also drive a little bit faster here, see how this car reacts at faster speeds. So here I'm getting from 100 to 130. So now lane change at higher speeds remains relatively stable, so not shaking up too much. There's just one base suspension available. Here at 130 kilometers an hour, it is getting a little bit noisy, so you see and feel that the car is not laid out to do that. 6th gear now for better fuel economy, and you're still somewhat comfortable at 130 kilometers an hour, but we definitely feel that here the new brother, the CX-3, is definitely calmer, better as for noise insulation at the higher speeds. What you feel with this new chassis that it shares with the Mazda 3, the CX-3, not this one here on the older chassis, and also together with the Mazda 2. So this one based here on the small car, whereas the CX-3 based on the compact car, the Mazda 3. So once again here, it is actually quite fun because the steering that Mazda is using is really cool. It always has a very natural feeling. So that has some kind of a sporty character. It doesn't have any dead zone area, yet at the same time you don't have to steer that much, and you really feel connected. You feel connected with the steering wheel, with the car, with the road. So I'm always happy with the steering they use here. And also the manual gearboxes by Mazda are always doing a good job. So they give you some kind of resistance when putting in the gears, yet it's not too hard to put in the gears, and it feels really sporty, Best example is of course the Mazda MX-5, which gives you the sportiest feeling at Mazda, no doubt. But even here with their small SUVs and so on, when you put in the gears, it's really a lot of fun. So it is actually one of the very rare vehicles or rare brands where I say rather take the manual gearbox. Usually I always say take the automatic gearbox, it's just more comfortable. Most of the time it's also sportier and also better in the fuel economy. Here at Mazda it's the other way around. Their automatic gearboxes are actually not that good. So with the automatic gearboxes, you often have really higher fuel consumption with the Mazda vehicles, so you're better off than with the manuals. And also because the manuals they build are so good, they are one of the best on the market as for, the feeling they give you, they convey. So rare case where I say go for the manual gearbox. Here, that's the only choice you have then here for this engine, either the 6-speed manual or the 6-speed auto. Stay with the 6-speed manual, save the money, and also save some fuel. And so what could be a reason to go with the CX-3 still and not with the CX-30? First of all, price. The CX-3 here is still a little bit cheaper. It depends on the offer, the concise offer you get at your dealer. If you can get it for the same price, of course, take the CX-30. But then again, if you save like, significant amount of money, that could be something you could think about. Then again, this one here is a little bit smaller. So sometimes when parking in and out, you could get along a little bit better here in the CX-3. And also, it is actually still a lot of fun to drive, It's a small, agile car, and the Mazda cars, as I said, with the shifting and with the steering setup and so on, are very, natural in the driving characteristics and are a lot of fun. So the CX-3 feels a little bit more agile than the CX-30. However, this new platform of the CX-30 is that the platform, the new platform is better, is stiffer and so on, so that evens the effect out a little bit, with the difference in size. Yeah, but these could be some arguments, but I think price would be the argument number one, because otherwise you could still, already go for the CX-30 then. The new seating position here, they upgraded here. I feel that's really good improvement. So the fabric seats or the fabric leatherette mix would be even more comfortable because the softer fabric surface adapts to the body a little bit more than here the more stiffer animal skin seats. However, the seat form they have optimized is really doing a good job. So I feel more comfortable here in the CX-3 facelift, definitely. So told you earlier what they did is it adapts more to the natural S form of the spine, and you sit a little bit more upright with your pelvis. So that's a Mazda philosophy they introduced with the all-new Mazda 3 and then implemented also to seating forms of the other models. And I think this is definitely a good improvement. Yeah, I mean, also the wireless Apple CarPlay, that you don't have your smartphone there in the front flying around because it's in a very narrow area there. So this could also be another thing to maybe pick this one, the facelift one, if you compare it to the older one. But driving, of course, hasn't changed that much. Cylinder on demand, again, could do something. We drove it rather calm now. I resetted it after the big acceleration, and what you can score is some 6 liters on 100 kilometers. So that's then again like 35 mpg US, 45 mpg UK. I think we can live with that. A small car like this could also consume less. Yeah, it's nothing special that it's really low and not too high, but maybe also the COD technology brought us some advantage right there. Definitely a very cool city vehicle. One difference, by the way, from the new platform now in the CX-30 here, the turning indicator, it doesn't feel that good actually when you turn it in and out, and doesn't feel that premium. But then there are other premium features like the nice microfiber covering here at the dashboard, which is really a lot of fun. And you have to think about, we're not in a high price segment. This is still somewhat a budget crossover, a budget SUV, and for that it's really doing a good job. To me, the most unique feature of this vehicle is once again the sporty driving characteristics and the natural driving fun it really creates. Definitely when the extra price is not too high for the CX-30, I think we can all agree that meanwhile then you should go for the CX-30. Again, I think it really matters what's the price difference. If you can save substantial money, then you can still go with this one here. It's still a good vehicle, still nice. And also the 120 horsepower is actually fine as long as you don't go like high-speed motorway all the time. Yeah, but other than that, the CX-30 of course offers more. But then again, that's also the thing. Because the CX-30 offers more and also different engines and so on, it can also easily get more expensive than once again. So if you not only compare the base prices. Here just once again I want to show you some slalom left and right. Here how nice the car is behaving. Suspension is really also a good compromise. Not too sporty, but sporty enough. So overall happy with that. We have the 18-inch wheels mounted. The comfort is still good. If you want a softer, more plush ride, then stick with the base 16-inch wheels. The 18-inch here definitely for a better look and also for some sportier driving. Yeah, consumption also when I accelerate a little bit more went up a little bit. So when we're more in city traffic, you more tend towards 7 liters in 100 kilometers. That's then barely over 30 mpg US and barely over 40 mpg UK. So something between that, 6 and 7 liters on 1 kilometers, or 30 something mpg US, 40 something mpg UK. That's definitely a realistic figure. So updated CX-3. I hope you enjoyed our driving part here for today. We definitely did. Sun's coming out a little bit more, and we do some more filming for our final conclusion.
And now to our conclusion for today with the updated Mazda CX-3. From the exterior, still a likable small crossover. Quite modern still in the styling, and in the interior you don't have too much space on the rear, yes. However, in the front, seating is even better now with the comfort because of the seating changes, and will be even better in the fabric or the fabric leatherette mixed seats. Also good that there are some infotainment system upgrades here with the CarPlay and the Android Auto and so on. Driving wise, this is still one of the best things about this vehicle. It's a lot of fun to drive the car, agile, and also the steering setup is good. The manual gearbox, which you should go for, is also really ideal. It doesn't have too much power with that engine. However, you still are just fine. You just have to rev it a little bit more because of the natural aspirated engine, which is also one of the unique selling points of this car. If you now compare it to the new bigger brother, the CX-30, yeah, because of the longer wheelbase, you have more space on the rear, and it's also a very good price-performance ratio. So as for me, it would be when you get a concise offering at the dealer and the extra price to a CX-30 is not too much, you should go for the newer model on the new platform. However, then, if the price difference is quite substantial, you want to save some money and you just want a little shorter vehicle that helps you better when parking in and out, then the CX-3 can still make sense. Welcome to a review of the updated Audi Q2. All about this facelift here on our channel, an exterior, interior and the driving experience. And we also have an everyday model for you here today. Not the highest spec, a more realistic vehicle. We also show you the high spec as a comparison, but here a more realistic vehicle for you because you requested that. Let's now go with everything you need to know in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go. In the front, the new Audi Q2 with this facelift has a flatter front grille, single frame, really wide for a rather small vehicle, the small crossover of small SUV. Then we also see here the new design style for the inside of the grille, here with the bright frame around. There are also different stylings available, also new styling in the lower bumper right there, so a little bit more modern this look. LED headlamps are now standard. Optional matrix LED, you can also see them right here. So this car does have some options, yes, but really not all that are available. We also give you a detailed tour then throughout the options. This one also not the S-Line, so the base look, so to speak, but you also can get a sportier S-Line look if you like. When you have the matrix LED option, you also receive the cascading turning indicators here already in the front. Pretty spectacular. The length is at 4.21 meters. 13'8" or 166 inches. That's 2 centimeters longer than before because of the new spoilers that are a little bit sportier even in the base version. Here we have the base 17-inch wheels, the smallest ones available. Therefore it looks a little bit more balloonish, but I think it already works. Visually wise it's okay. But 19-inch is also optionally possible, so 17, 18, 19-inch, then you have a more menacing look, but of course also maybe some comfort losses, so this one here is best for comfort. As for suspension, you can either get a base suspension, that's also in here, then you get a fixed sport suspension, minus 10 millimeters, or the adaptive suspension. The adaptive suspension gives you the best comfort. However, if you stick with the smaller wheels, you can also stick with the base suspension, because then you have, enough dampening comfort and can also save some money. But the best comfort again would be the adaptive suspension. Interesting that we have the crossover wheel arches here, but they are not black and plain, but painted then here in this dark scheme. So this looks a little bit more sophisticated, especially in the contrast here with the white color. And design-wise, main dropping line on the height of the door handles, and then a very interesting design element right here. This this area that then dissolves into one design line here once again. So this car is really playing with design lines still, has been since the introduction. In the rear, a typical hatch style here from this Volkswagen AG MQB platform, which the Audi Q2 is also based on. Modern tail lamp signature right here, and then with this facelift, get a new, more modern spoiler in the lower part, contrasting style. Of course, different styles depending on the trim available. Also with this more sporty graphic right here, but this is all closed, of course. As for exhaust, that's cool actually. No fake exhaust graphic, just this crossover look right here, and the real exhaust then underneath. So we see it also works without fake exhaust. Why not? So overall, yeah, this is a small and not too expensive vehicle, considering Audi prices, but then again you already get a very unique design. And also for the tail lamps, when you have the matrix back here, the turning indicators in a cascading style. And now the other end, basically the high trim version. This here the S-Line, sportier design elements. Also the Edition 1 launch model here with black Audi rings, black frame around, quattro citations, and a wider graphic here in the lower end. This is not a real air intake, just a fake graphic, so to speak. And also this aero gray color has kind of a matte scheme, but it's not a real matte color. But very interesting to see it, how the design really differs from the low trim to the high trim. This, of course, has a more menacing look, also with the biggest 19-inch wheels, the biggest one that are available. And also in the rear then with a sportier contrast graphic in black. Which one do you like best? Is it too much for a Q2, or would you rather go for a high trim model? Of course, you also have to think about the price, that between our low spec model and the high spec model here, yeah, with all the extras included and so on, is easily about 15,000 euros or dollars difference. Engines. This is the base engine, 1 liter 3-cylinder, front wheel drive only, 110 horsepower, so the base spec engine also for you here today to keep the price lower. Then there's the 1.5 liter 4-cylinder, 150 horsepower, or the 2 liter 4-cylinder, 190 horsepower, then also with all-wheel drive. And on the diesel side, the 2 liter TDI with 116 or 150 horsepower. Key fob, rather traditional, but good in the quality. You can still fold out the real deal. Door closing sound is solid. Then inside the doors right here, this is somewhat hard pack indeed, so that's a little bit let off, but this interesting material right here, and also then a little bit softer at the armrest, and good here. Clicking sounds for the window levers, also galvanized, that's really nice. Reasonable door pockets. And then this is here also not highest trim as for the interior spec, but a nice round styling for the steering wheel here, also with a pretty sporty styling right here. Round air vents, you close or open them right here, and also here with nice clicking sounds. This one then is soft touch here on the top part, and here bright design element also with a structure you can really feel, and also old school, rather old school for the light switches, and I really like it. This is like straightforward, exactly what you want to do or want to have. It's perfectly fine. Zoomer leads to the instruments and so on. These here are the optional digital instruments, virtual cockpit. Then seats, there are base fabric seats available. These here are the sport seats, so they are a little bit sporty as for the side bolstering, also in the upper area. They look also cooler, and they offer you decent comfort, and are also available here in pure fabric. This is really cool, keeps you cool in summer and warm in winter, and this is a highly durable but yet at the same breathable fabric, so I'm really satisfied with these.
shoe tab first to get inside. And these sport seats, you really deliver you decent comfort. They're good also for tall people. 1.86 m or 6'1", enough headroom. There's also an optional panoramic roof available. But here the seating comfort is really good. You don't have the highest SUV type feeling. It's more like between SUV and crossover, but already feels more upright than in a normal small or compact size vehicle. So this rather here the compact segment. So I'm really happy with these seats. So you can also go for the sport seat form. By the way, also available with a microfiber share, for example. Then manual control of the steering wheel, good smooth process, and really goes wide up and down and towards you and so on. So although it's not the biggest car, you can already find a very decent position right here. You can pump it all up, y'all, like this. And also then manual control here, front and back. There are also electric seats available, but I mean, as I said, it's cool that we can also show you a car that does not have everything. And for what it offers here, you know, already actually quite decent. So I'm really happy with the front cockpit here. Interior overview with a rather classic styling. Soft touch dashboard, and here more round vents again. Nice clicking sounds and so on. Audi badge right here. It's also an interesting structure. And once again, all the buttons are so well processed. You have the acoustic feedback here, for example, for the drive select, which will have more, more effect when you have the adaptive suspension, because then the suspension adapts to the drive modes. Then a classic AC unit right here. My favorite one, also with the clicking sounds once again, and so straightforward to use. The central screen here, it cannot be pulled in, it's just on and off, but there's like an off function at least available. Either 7-inch smaller one, or this one here, the 8.3-inch optional, both with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto support. And on the left side, you start with analog gauges, and an optional these 12.3-inch digital instruments, virtual cockpit, zoom or deals to both of the screens. Steering wheel here is now when you have the assistance systems package, also capacitive, that you just touch the steering wheel and then the car knows you're still there for the assistance systems. Right side here with the volume control, left side to control the digital instruments, and everything is really straightforward how to use this vehicle. That's what I like. It's a more old school approach, but honestly, the more old school approach is sometimes even better. The key here still to be put in the steering column here in the classic style, in this case then here. Lower part, smartphone connection USB-A. The place to put your smartphone is a little bit, I don't know, that's maybe a little bit doubtful, but you could also put out these cup holes and then put it in here. This would be possible, but then you have no cup holders left. So have to decide about that. Then manual volume control in the lower area. Here today with the manual transmission. Of course, you can also get automatic gearboxes for this vehicle with the S-Tronic. And then this lower control knob here, MMI, also again with the clicking sounds, because there's still no touchscreen for this vehicle, but you can control it very well while driving. So can argue pro and con definitely, and some hotkeys. And then we also have this armrest right here, nice fabric cover, well attached, and underneath there's more USB-A charging here for a second smartphone, for example. But there's also an inductive charging pad underneath. The virtual cockpit here, crystal clear view, really cool. You can control what you want to see on the inside, for example, also part of the map. But then you're also flexible to switch the whole view like this to have the map all over the place. And you can also zoom in and out just with your left thumb. Again, that's actually it was a technology stage where we see everything is easy to control, still with manual knobs and so on, but we already have digital integration. I think a very good solution. And details to the screen right here. You see here, this would be again more relevant when you have the S-Tronic dual clutch transmission for the shifting characteristic, or also then for the adaptive suspension. And that main menu is actually quite easily done. GPS looks like this. To put in the address, for example, you can also write, for example, that wasn't B. So in this lower touchpad, that would be possible, or just take a look at the map directly, like this. Also with a nice satellite view. You can also deactivate it if you want to have a better overview for that. That would be possible. But again, straightforward, I think. Apple CarPlay integration works like this. There's no touch then here available. That is unusual for the Apple CarPlay then. However, you can still control it very well while driving, especially with this MMI knob. And then different sound systems are available. Let's just listen here to our current one. And yeah, even the more basic one is actually already quite good. Now to the rear compartments. Here we go. Also hardpack right here, but softer than right there. And you can see the same fabric styling also for the rear seats, and looks actually quite good. Nothing too fancy, but also nice. Again, this feels really good from the surface as well. And let's see what about the legroom we have right here. It's not too long, this vehicle, but it exactly fits when I'm also driving here in the front. Again, 1.86 meters or 6'1". And headroom wise, also, yeah, really fits quite well. You can even put a hand over my head. That's still possible. So it works for 4 tall adults. Of course, not abundance of space, but typical basically for the compact segment. Isofix at the outside. There's no, armrest here, but on the middle part you could theoretically also sit. And yeah, that gets really close for the legs then. So maybe just for emergency situations, also with the headroom, it gets really close. And if someone would be next to me, yeah, that's really close. But for the outside parts, it's no problem. And 12-volt power supply here in the rear and the middle part. This is more a basic building style here. But overall, I think we really see in this car that has a very solid build quality and more, these classic solutions with a lot of knobs and buttons and so on. And since meanwhile we have so many more modern cars with all the touchscreen all over the place, this is actually more a welcoming change once again. Now to the trunk. We also have the manual trunk here today, but it's just fine. 405 liters up to 1050 liters. That's in the maximum setup. I already did the 2/3 split here, 2/3, 1/3. Underneath you have more space, for example, also for a replacement tire. And actually quite square dimensions. I can also put a backpack here inside. You can see also fits in just here in the upright way. And then also some measures. Like this, the normal trunk length is just under 80 centimeters. And the width here, right here, is about 1 meter. So that's actually quite okay. And the height up to the cover would be about, just under 45 centimeters. And the total height is just under 70 centimeters. And last one missing here, the absolute length to the seat as I would be seating. We have all the way folded flat, and this is about 1.50 meters. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Audi Q2 in this update here, and we're driving the 1-liter TSI 3-cylinder engine, front-wheel drive only, 110 horsepower, so it's the base entry-level engine. Also then with the manual gearbox, so the most base spec you can get. And the one thing was, you guys told us, hey, try to show some more basic vehicles. Most of the time the manufacturers try to show all they've got. You can also understand that. But then we told Audi, hey, some of our viewers really want to see more, more realistic vehicles. And they said, yeah, okay, we try to change that and also offer that to you. So this is how feedback works. You tell us something, we can go to the manufacturers, and that's becoming reality then. So yeah, that's why you're also part here of our community. So first of all, some city driving here. Back to the second gear. Great progressive steering. The Audi Q2 comes standard with progressive steering. What does it mean? So you can keep your hands on the steering wheel all the time, especially when you have the automatic gearbox, so you don't have to grab around, because here slalom style is really good. Really precise, no dead angle area, so everything is directly transported to the road. And yet at the same time, if you park in and out, you never have to turn it 3 times around. Progressive means that it also increases the feedback and is a really cool characteristic. It feels natural, but at the same time, it's just very comfortable to steer this car around. That's really cool. The base suspension is also just fine, especially in combination with the 17-inch wheels. So that's soft enough, and it is not then adaptive reacting to situations, but the car still remains upright, and it's also most comfortable then as for the base suspension setup with the 17-inch wheels. That's no problem. So you can also really go with this setup if you want to save some money, no problem at all. If you want bigger wheels, then you could go for the adaptive suspension. The adaptive suspension gives you a better variety between sportiness and comfort, and depending on the driving mode, and in general also gives you more comfort also in the base comfort mode. And then you could, for example, also go with 18-inch wheels without losing too much comfort. That works. Here again, see, don't have to turn the steering wheel that much, and being in this roundabout, getting out, once again a sporty driving feeling. So it is somewhat fun also to drive this vehicle. It will be a little bit more fun when you go, for example, adaptive suspension and put it to the sports mode. Then you can have some, a sportier driving moment for that. Of course, also the more powerful engines will be a little bit more fun to drive. But when you rather roll, for example, and drive it calmly, you can also live with the small engine. We start with city driving here. We head out to the motorway right now to show also some more of the acceleration of this vehicle. If this small engine is enough then for these situations. It is a turbo, so you can always get something more out of this turbocharger than when you rev it up. Yeah, and manual gearbox is also just fine. So there's not too much resistance, but yet at the same time you get a feedback when putting in the gears. The shifting lever also sticks out enough that you don't have to, reach down too far or something. So overall, I think a very comfortable setup. And again, the straightforward user interface. It's not the newest one, but Michelle and I really agreed that it's cool. We have so many cars now which are super fancy, info touchscreen here, touchscreen there. And we also appreciate new technologies, but only if they're really helpful. For example, a capacitive steering wheel, which is now integrated when you have the assistance system package here, is good. Then you don't have like these false positives, so the car knows when you touch a steering wheel and doesn't say like, oh, you're not doing anything anymore, I have to go back from this level 2 autonomous driving mode. So this is like technology advancement, but sometimes when you make the user interface more complicated, that's not really like technological progress. And here, controlling the temperature while driving is just so easy and straightforward, and that's what we really appreciate. Or when I control these cool digital instruments while driving with the manual buttons, that's a good interface. We have technology, yes, but at the same time we have something which is adapted to the human body, and the human body does not react to something that doesn't give you like a real feedback or so. Here again, good sporty fun. Now accelerating out a little bit, second gear, put in third gear. The 3-cylinder engine actually sounds quite good. So sometimes it sounds sporty in the 4-cylinder engine. Yeah, why not? Of course, I would, when I can spend a little bit more money, rather go for the 4-cylinder, because then you can keep it at lower RPMs. For the long-term durability, that might be a better choice than when you have an engine that has a little bit higher displacement figure, but you keep it at lower RPMs, for example. Then it's actually a little bit more suitable than keeping with the low displacement and keep it at high RPMs. It's just more stress to the engine. And now, let's drop it behind a little bit, show you something of acceleration, 50 to 100. Let's go. Plop, that's it. So you see, need to push it really. There's not much happening, so especially when you have these situations where you need to accelerate on the motorway, then you do lack some power with this small engine. So if you predominantly think about this vehicle as a city vehicle, getting from A to B to C to D inside the city, it's no problem. You can also go with a base spec engine. If you have more autobahn, more motorway share in that, then you should rather think about going for the bigger engine, at least the 1.5 TSI 4-cylinder. And if you want to have some more sporty fun, and if you can of course also afford that, then rather go even for the 2-liter turbo petrol engine. If a diesel makes sense here for this small vehicle, only when you have like a high mileage per year. But then the question is if that's then like the right vehicle segment for you. But I mean, it is decently comfortable. So in the front, you wouldn't say like, oh, this is like a small car, therefore I don't have enough comfort in the front. I think it's really comfortable. These sport seats here with the fabric surface are super comfortable. Michelle also agrees. and we have like a even sometimes better comfort here than we had in like some very big premium luxury cars or so. So these seats are absolutely excellent. I can just stress it again. And sometimes just the seat form and the seat surface has so much to do with the overall comfort that the car is offering. And also the whole seating position set up here is actually pretty cool. So now some motorway situations. First of all, another acceleration where we're already at speed. So I was in the second gear before, now third gear, just like this, 70 to 80, third gear. Drop, that's it, well, already 85, using the speed again. So you see, there's no explosive acceleration coming right here. You feel very well when also being here in these traffic situations. Blind spot monitor is right here. So, there's the German Blitzer. So that's the speed camera. Always have to watch out for these. The blind spot monitor very well integrated. If you have, there are different assistance systems packages. They try to simplify now a little bit. Still, the Audi configurator is so complicated. I mean, look at Tesla. They make it just easy as for configuring a car. Blind spot monitor is really cool. Assistance systems upgrades here majorly. You can set the cruise control right here. In this case here, this is also just a normal cruise control, but you can of course also get an adaptive cruise control for this vehicle depending on the assistance systems packages. And then updated that you have like the, not only longitudinal but also, the cross semi-autonomous function that it keeps you in the lane. You can activate or deactivate it right here, and then depending on the grade, it keeps you here actively or less actively in the lane. Here this was reacting quite late, but sometimes also good because you don't have so much interference. And there again, blind spot monitor, and if you put the turning indicator, then it also flashes as an additional warning, so that's also well done. So, and then again, the capacitive steering wheel as an updated function for this semi-autonomous driving function. Here now at higher speeds, so we're now 1 kilometers. Let's put it like to a reasonable autobahn speed, like to, and then people are not driving fast enough already. Welcome to Germany. We need to go to the left lane right there then to drive a little bit faster. Okay, we're at this, is it A6 all road? Guess so, yeah, it is. So, yeah, go for that. Fourth gear racing Audi Q2. Yay! So now about 130 kilometers an hour, so like 80 miles an hour, and you still hear and feel it's reasonable silent in here. So for a compact segment vehicle, it's a good noise insulation. So also happy with that. If you put in 6th gear, you can rather than also rely on low fuel consumption. And I mean, so far this was mixed with acceleration and so on, so we're a little bit higher right there. But if I reset it now, for example, then I can also tell you what is like the minimum fuel consumption. And this is always good to know what we have as a result when we just put it, to cruise control on the motorway and so on. Maybe accelerate a little bit, because here with the small displacement engine and small horsepower, you can score really low fuel consumption when you keep it low on the RPMs, but yet at the same time the span is very wide, so when you exceed, or stress the engine and really rev it up, then the consumption goes really high. So that's also sometimes that the bigger engines not necessarily consume more fuel. It really depends on, here in the 1.5 TSI, for example, they also have cylinder on demand technology, that 2 cylinders are being shut off when they're not being used. So these technologies also, for example, help there once again. Set here the cruise control again, but again, here this is not the adaptive one, otherwise the distance to the car in front of us would be kept. But this is also the case then when we not have the highest spec vehicle. So although we have a small car, we feel quite comfortable here on the motorway. This is also not that often the case. So this Audi Q2 definitely gives you a good compromise. It's a car where you can do most things already with. You can fit 4 tall Ls in, you feel at home in the city. You can all drive on the motorway and have a decent comfort. That's also cool because of the upright seating position. It gives you a good noise insulation already. The engine, again, for the motorway, it's a little bit underpowered, I think. For the city, it will be enough. The 1.5 TSI might then be a good compromise between small and big. And when you rather let it roll and swim, so to speak, in traffic, you can score like some 5 or 6 liters on 1 kilometer, which would be then around the 40 mpg regions. That's possible, but then again, when you rather push it, then it would go a little bit higher. But I think this, 6 liters or 40 mpg plus something is a realistic figure you can reach when you drive this car, at least in a rather calm way. So overall, I think the facelift does not change too much here with the overall driving feeling of the vehicle. It's a very, very good all-rounder car, definitely. And considering Audi prices, one of the best price performance cars that Audi is offering here. And definitely also explains why this small SUV segment is still surging.
And now to our conclusion for today with the updated Audi Q2. The facelift changes, of course not that large, but I mean, so to speak, why not? Some tweaks here and there. Of course, they don't change the car at all in a, wide scale. Then exterior, I think it's still one of the freshest Audi designs. So it's really a little bit different with this polygon style all over the place, more angular design lines and a lot of design lines. On the interior, we still see a solid build quality and also this rather old school design with the MMI knob, with classic climate dials, and well, we know new user interfaces that are really complicated, so I really appreciate to have a more classic user interface right here. Space-wise, on the interior, you get along very well. You can drive this car actually with 4 tall adults, and it's still one of the most reasonably priced Audis. Of course, not overall if you compare it to the competitors. This car here with some of the options we have here, like 35,000 euros, but then the high spec one with automatic transmission and also the 19-inch wheels and so on, rather 50k. So of course, big difference between that. So I'm really happy that we could show you like a lower spec car here today. This is totally fine, and if you go here with the 17-inch wheels, it doesn't look that striking. But then you can also go with the normal suspension and still have a decent riding comfort. If you go with bigger wheels, then you should probably go for the adaptive suspension to even out this comfort loss then for the better looks. Overall, a very well usable car, the smallest Audi SUV, very well to use in the city, but already with a nice comfort. Also great with the sports fabric seats here. They are a good choice, both in comfort and also the visual part. So, this car here especially served Audi to gain new customers which didn't have an Audi at all before. So half of the customers of the Audi Q2 never had an Audi before. So that was a big success for them. And here with the facelift, they surely continue it because small SUVs are still the surging segment worldwide still. The bigger one above that would be the Audi Q3. Has also been updated. You can check out that review on our channel as well as the Audi Q3 Sportback, for example. The Q3 rather than has a more SUV feeling already. This one here definitely between SUV and crossover, but you already have a little bit more comfort than the normal compact hatch. So which one will we take today? The Ford Puma looks pretty cool, but especially for taller people, it doesn't offer enough comfort. The Mazda CX-3 is still decent, but meanwhile a little bit dated. The Audi Q2 is still a good car, however it's too expensive for what it offers. The Toyota Yaris Cross is the most efficient one in the test, delivering that hybrid drivetrain. The new seats are also suitable for tall people. The VW T-Roc comes with that new facelift. It's not that you need the facelift to be happy. The price-performance winner for today is the VW Taigo. It starts below 20,000 euros, for example, in Germany, and already offers a lot of space and a lot of driving fun. So if I could pick one, it would be the VW Taigo, and as alternative, the Toyota Yaris Cross. Only if price does not play a role, I would still go for the Audi Q2. What's your pick in this case and why? Tell me in the comments.